Very
And
live
I should
stream.
check. Are you recording to the cloud as well? Is that the plan?
I can do, yeah, I guess. I just need to press the right button again.
Now streaming live. Yeah.
Done. It looks like we're going. Yeah, okay. I will.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody. Welcome to Conekt. I am hearing myself on YouTube, I think. So I need to get rid of that. But yeah, welcome to Conekt. And today is Things from the Flood, GM'd by Thomas.
Howdy.
And I will hand over straight to Thomas, in fact.
Okay. All right. So usual disclaimers will apply. So I'll just go to that. It's probably hidden under everyone's floating heads. Anyway, look, it's just a small content warning. There is actually nothing particularly confronting in this module. Having said that, Things from the Flood is definitely a game that explores the challenges that teens face, particularly in the mid-90s. And often revolves around those teens having experienced trauma or potentially, experiencing other forms of challenges. So it's always important to note that up front. However, this game is not expected to explore any of those topics. Right. So this game is going to be set in the bucolic town of Jindabyne, which rests on Lake Jindabyne, a part of the Snowy Mountain scheme in Australia. It is our only real snow town where people go to ski and stay. There is another town in Victoria, but no one mentions it because that doesn't count if you're in New South Wales, as we are, called Mount Hotham, but I'm sure it's lovely down there. The focus of the game is a company has come to town, and that company's name is North Star R&D, founded by Jeremy North Star, and he is fascinated and has brought to Australia the promise of bringing magnetron technology, which only operates in the Northern Hemisphere, to the Southern Hemisphere, and has received significant funding from mining corporations who are interested in using these giant cargo haulers that they see in northern reaches to ship goods, and in particular coal and iron ore, around the country and hopefully across the equator and into Japan and China, growing markets. So this very small town, which has traditionally only operated as a tourist centre with a very small population, suddenly finds itself, the centre of attention for what is a radical challenge to the technology landscape around the planet. Jeremy is not well known and quite well hidden, so no one really knows him. But North Star R&D is now present all through the area. So I'll just pause there, and what I might do is ask everyone to introduce their characters, because I realized I didn't do that at the start, so I leapt straight in. So starting with Sandy. Sandy?
Hi, yeah, I'm Sandy. I'm Sandy Pearson. I'm 17-year-old, and I'm the lead singer of our band. I'm not sure what the band is called, actually.
It doesn't have a name.
It's probably called
letting you guys
Sandy in the Groove Hipsters or something. That's probably not quite right though for Sandy. So I'm a tall 17-year-old. I'm a bit socially awkward. I'm shy. I suffer from troubling experiences around loud sounds, which makes me behave in strange ways, but I'm most at ease when I'm playing with the band and singing, and it's the only thing really in this whole town that gives me any hope for the future.
Okay, Lou.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Sorry, Sandy.
That's all right. Just say no. My dad lost his job a little while ago. We can't really afford very much. Can't really afford to any sort of medical bills to try and see what might be wrong with me with all this sound thing. And my relationship with my mother, I think, is probably equally difficult.
That's correct. Lou.
Okay, I'm Lou McDonald. I play guitar in the band, but I'm 18 years old, but always dressed in hand-me-down, second-hand clothes. Probably when he walks into class, people kind of pick up a bit of a smell that maybe he's not kind of feel like he's washed properly. He kind of he's just trying to get through. He's a bit busy, struggling a bit. One of the things is that everybody probably knows a while back his sister passed away, and his old man, he lost his job, but he is actually in prison for causing an incident at his work. So he's already serving half a year. So it's just Lou and his mum at the moment, just trying to survive and just get on with life around in the town. Also, there is his mum doesn't hold the job at the moment, so he's just struggling as he's going through it. But they're just keeping on and busy.
And what does Lou do in the band?
He plays the guitar. He's
That's right. Yes, sorry,
yeah.
you said at the beginning.
Yep.
Yes, no,
Yep.
cool. Yep, so he's the guitarist.
Yep.
Okay, Smithy.
Yeah, Smithy is a 16-year-old motorhead, loves his Tirana, and his second love after that is his Tirana. And I had to Google what a Tirana is, but I figured out it's an Australian car of a certain kind. It doesn't work, but he spends most of his time trying to get it to work, and then he'll show everyone when he's not playing drums in this band. That's what he does, and he has a bit of a hard time in school. He just wants to get through it so he can go work with his dad, who I understand has a garage. Yeah.
That's it.
Otherwise, his family is he likes his family. That's cool.
Yep. Yes, Lou has no particular concerns, except for his Tirana.
Yeah.
Placing him on the other side of the fence from Datsun lovers, or who were quite strong at the same time. You were either a Datto or a Tirana lover. You are definitely a Tirana lover.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, okay, so there are some other members of the band. There's a guy called Matt. So Matt is everyone's friend. He hangs around with the band. His dad's like the local national MP, which means he's part of what's known as the squattocracy, which means he comes from old landed sort of group. They've been farming this land for 150 to 200 years. They've got all of their wealth tied up with that, and they're members of the local conservative constituency, most famous for wearing moleskin jeans and a Chabray shirts, a distinct uniform of the period. Still worn, I would like to add, in those regions. And you did have another member, but for the purpose of this play, we won't be using them. So it's the start of the day, and you're all sort of, heading out from your various abodes. Now, Sandy, you're living in what is a pretty average house on the sort of edge of town. Actually, hold on. On the subject of the edge of town. So this is Jindabyne here. You all attend Jindabyne High, which you can see in the middle of the map there. North Star R&D is located up here at the Magnetite Research Facility. You can see that there's the Jindabyne Hospital. There's a power station down here to the south. Probably the one place you all tend to hang out at is a place called Ali's Cafe right here on the sort of waterfront of the lake. It's literally the only cafe in town, and serves, you know, very traditional fare for the 90s. The coffee revolution that will transform Australia and bring joy to the hearts of all lovers of coffee has not yet hit Jindabyne. So you're still drinking filtered coffee, basically at the cafe. It's a very American style experience. You all live scattered around, and these obviously these purple lines represent you know, streets. Now, at the moment, Sandy, you live up near where you can see that little Revolution CD sort of indicator, the grey one there.
Yep.
Lou, you're down near the junkyard at the moment. And Smithy, you're probably parked somewhere towards the centre of town. So on one of those main roads right next to Jindabyne High itself. So for you, walking to school is a trivial exercise. So Sandy, you're getting up in the morning and you see, you know, it's pretty quiet in the house. But you've had some really weird dreams last night. Quite off-putting, actually. You kept on feeling this sense of floating above your body. So you've got this real sort of distracting sort of sense about you today, like you've sort of been not quite present through the night, and you were waking up constantly through the night. And, you know, your dad's at the kitchen table, he's got the newspaper open and he's, you know, got the pen out and he's sort of, you know, looking through the job ads, of which there are not many. Jindabyne is not a big place, but he's circling, you know, repeatedly, and your mum's just making breakfast. What are you doing about getting ready for the day?
I think the first thing that happens is that my dad looks up from his paper and says, "Did I hear your music on all bloody night? You really ought to turn that off when you go to bed." And that kind of upsets me a bit because I'm feeling a bit out of it anyway. And he like shakes his paper and goes back to sort of angrily circling, you know, basically bits on the paper that are irrelevant because there aren't, like you say, there aren't any jobs there really for him to find. My mother kind of lets this behavior happen, and I feel a bit offended and upset that she doesn't kind of defend me a little bit. I just turn around, grab my bag, and walk out to head to school early because I need to go. And the only person who actually understands me there is my science teacher, Miss Smith, and she's more of a parent to me than they are. And I kind of leave. I don't slam the door. I go out very quietly and very meekly. It's not a big show. It's just what I do. I pick up my bag quietly and I quietly go out the door and gently shut it. Almost, you can hardly hear the door click as I close it. And I walk off kind of down the street, put my Walkman on to play my favorite music, which is sort of Songs of the Whale song, with a tear in my eye, and I head to school, pull my hood up and lock myself in.
Okay. It's quite cool. It's sort of early spring, which makes it reasonably, you know, cold. So temperatures are hovering at about 5 degrees, give or take, as you walk to school. And, you know, there's that sort of crunch of the frost on the grass as you're moving across, you know, the sort of open ground towards the school.
I think I don't realise how cold it is until it's way too late.
Yeah, and your feet are freezing.
Yeah, the kind of thing that I'm so focused on kind of what's in my head that it takes a long time for the outside world to kind of penetrate.
Yeah. So, Lou, you're also sort of getting up. You're getting out of the back of your, station wagon where you've been sleeping through the night, sort of pulling yourself out from underneath the pile of sort of clothes and blankets that you and your mum used to stay warm in the back of the station wagon. So what's happening with you?
Well, just getting her up, as you say, struggling to get up and put the clothing on. Lou's really getting friend. He's trying to make a very quick breakfast. What they have, maybe an egg or something, frying up. Make sure his mum's up and about as well. And he's just rushing around, packing up. He's trying to get through the bags in school. Through the song on the radio, they'll play his Everybody Knows by Leonard Cohen. Is playing on. He's got that switched on just to hear what's coming through. And he's looking at the time. He's probably realized he's probably going to be a bit late. So he's trying to gather his bags, get through to rush to the school. But he's going by their old house as well that they previously lived in. And he's just checking to see if there's any old mail from there. He doesn't see any. And then he's going to start running to the school because he realizes he's going to be late again if he doesn't move on and do it, because he has to take a bit of a detour to that way to get to the school.
And as he's running, he realizes that, this is another day where, there's no lunch in the bag or anything like that. Like he's going to have to make do until tonight. And he's already feeling that sort of, that knowledge that he's going to be hungry through the whole day.
Yeah.
Okay. Smithy, you're at the garage, which is where you go with your dad every morning because he starts really early, like 5 a.m., sort of get out of bed, go to the garage. So you're already sort of fully awake. The cars, you've got local vehicles, particularly, sort of Land Rovers and other things that are pretty beaten up. They've been smashed around all the local farms. Your dad's underneath, one of them sort of asking for your assistance. What are you doing?
Yeah, sure, Dad. I got to get off to school soon, but yeah. What do you want me to do?
Oh, we've lost his video. Look, can you just pass me, the wrench, and I'll be fine.
Yeah, sure. Dad, do you think maybe we could borrow the van later today if we need it for the band? You're not going to go anywhere, are you?
No. Are you? Okay, so just this time, can you just return it with petrol?
Yeah,
right,
sure
so
thing.
I returned it. I went out to do a job, and of course, running late. First thing I realised, no petrol. What the hell?
Yeah, I forget.
Yes, I know you forget. I know you forget.
Yeah.
Just do it. Also, how are you? Your maths teacher rang yesterday. They want to have a chat with me.
Yeah, good for them.
What's that about?
No, I don't know. Well, I'm not that clever, right? I have that from you.
Oh.
I'm trying. I'm just going to get through this.
You don't want to end up under a car for the rest of your life.
What's wrong with that? Come on, Dad.
Look at it. I'm covered in grease.
Yeah,
you could
isn't that?
You could go to university. You could go to university.
What good would that do me, really? What?
I don't understand why you don't understand how important that is. Okay, just go to school, and I'm going to have to talk to your maths teacher.
Honestly, Dad, I'd rather spend 12 15 hours under a bed each day, under a car each day, then go to university.
Okay.
That's what's fun.
Okay. It is fun. Don't get me wrong. It's nothing more beautiful than the sound of a Tirana engine.
Yeah.
But you could be at university. You could be an engineer, still under an engine, just paid a lot more.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. If you could just pack your bag, go to school, do the study, talk about it tonight. I'm going to ring your maths teacher later today.
Yeah. Thanks, Dad.
All right.
And
So
he
you head
sort
out.
of kicks his legs. Right.
Yeah, love you too. All right. You all front up at the school. So Jindabyne High is sort of a regional school. So what that means is there's a couple of small villages around Jindabyne, plus obviously farmers and farming families. So a lot of kids are driven into school to attend Jindabyne High, and you yourselves all obviously live in Jindabyne. It's a pretty small school and it's sort of multi-year. So what that means is a lot of classes, you know, are sort of 2 years worth of students are attending the classes because it's just convenient to do it that way. And then the teacher manages, you know, the teaching in such a way that it supports those two different groups. The school itself, not very big, but it is well appointed. The North Star R&D have pumped a lot of money into the town recently, and you're already seeing that money have an impact. So facilities at the school, which Jeremy North Star has talked repeatedly about how important education is, you know, for the future of Australia with this sort of voice, has really pitched in. Equally, at the same time, North Star has been undertaking what is known as an exchange program. So certain scientists who've been working with North Star R&D have been coming into the school and running, you know, almost, you know, specialist classes. And that's across all of the different disciplines, but obviously science and maths in particular have been receiving additional help. You have a reasonable start. Sandy, you and Smithy are sort of in science class. Mrs. Smith is there. The class itself, just to describe, there's a big old TV sort of up the front with, you know, mounted on one of those really big stands, and it's got, you know, a VCR player underneath it in a big, you know, sort of black box, the cables running up into the back of the TV. It's been wheeled out this morning, which suggests that at least for some of the day, you're actually not going to have to do any real work. Obviously, this is that moment where if you're careful and you're quiet, you can sit at the back of the class and no one will notice that you've got your eyes closed. If you're up the front, you will be assaulted with the beauty of Australian television and its science education programs. Where are you sitting?
At the back.
So
Yeah,
Smithy,
I think
you're at the back.
I'm pretty lost at school generally. I don't like being at school, but the one thing that does kind of interest me is science. And as I said, Mrs. Smith is kind of the one person I feel safe around. So I'm going to be sitting up the front, I think.
Okay.
At the side, maybe by the window, not right in the front, but
right. So off to one
to
side.
Yeah, by the windows.
Off to one side.
Yeah.
Okay. Mrs. Smith is about to, you know, start the television. And hello. Sorry, I have a visitor. Hello. Hi. Can I? Do you need a hug? Okay. All right. This is my youngest child getting a hug. Everyone and the cat.
Hello. Don't forget the cat.
They're all saying hello to you, but of course you can't hear them because I have headphones on.
Okay.
We're streaming this live around the planet. I just want you to know. Okay. All right. Are you going to bed? All right. Love you, darling. Okay, good night. Night, Anana. All right. Okay. After that short intermission, we return to our usual programming. So it's perfect timing. So as Miss Smith is about to hit the play button, Lou, you run into the room, bag, sort of on one shoulder. The door slams open as you punch your way through it, once again sprinting to get to class before it begins. Mrs. Smith turns and faces you, and with her somewhat kind face, to be fair, Mrs. Smith is certainly not one of the punishing clique at the school. She's actually quite famous for being quite lovely. Lou, you're late.
Sorry, Teach. Alarm didn't go off. I'm really gonna have to get a new one to get that sorted.
You do need to get. Look, this is the third time. It's going to be a problem if it keeps on happening. I don't want to be rude, but it is going to be a problem, Lou. If you keep on missing the start of class, I'm going to have to start telling, the vice principal, and then they're going to have to ring your mum, and just make it easy for me. Don't make that a thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, there won't be need to bother my mum. We'll try and make it early. And Lou, if he can, sneaks around and probably looks a little bit ashamed, but heading probably to the back of the class, if there is any space.
Yes, there's space. So you find yourself parked near Smithy, who's sitting at the back as well. You both sort of see each other for a moment, but then the class goes dark as the teacher turns the video on. Now, this may not work. It has been hit and miss today, but I feel you'd all deserve at least a minute of classic Australian science education from the 1990s.
Thanks, Thomas.
That's all right. It's a gift. It's a gift that I'm happy to give. This is the Curiosity Show. I hope you... So this show is actually playing while you're all sort of sitting there.
I think it's screwing up my internet, Thomas, if you can hear that.
I can hear you. That's all right.
I've turned off my video for the moment, but...
Okay. I have stopped it now.
Yeah, okay, cool.
That was enough. It was it was for my own entertainment, if nothing else. Oh, hold on. Is it going to do that? Yes, it is. Hold on. Let me skip past that slide. Thank you. All right. There we go. Okay. So you see, I think his name was Richard. Yes, you see Richard, the science instructor on the show, sort of teaching you about electrical engines and how you can build your own from scratch. When suddenly the TV itself hashes out, so classic sort of screen goes black and white and all the little pixelation occurs. There's a horrible, harsh sort of, noise coming from the television. You can hear it from the speakers as well. So the school has speakers in all the classes for, principal announcements and to ring the bells to say it's the end of class or lunchtime. And so all of this noise suddenly washes down upon you, almost stunning you. And in particular, Sandy, obviously, it has quite a profound effect on you as you're hit by this giant wave of sound. Just at that moment, as that occurs, you see Mrs. Smith, the somewhat elderly lady you can see on your screen right now, suddenly give a shriek and collapse to the ground. At the same time, towards the back of the class, Fred Armiston, who is a very famous comedian, and also, as it turns out, his inherited name is being used by the class clown in Gingerbine. Also collapses, and he's sitting at the back of the class. He was about to make a joke. You see him stand up to make some suitably humorous comment, and then he suddenly falls to one side, spasming on the ground. Okay, so Sandy, what are you doing?
What the visions that I'm getting as a result of this sound, are these kind of like dark evil, like the ones that I get when I'm singing, or are they?
Absolutely. So you feel it's like watching waves of darkness and grey sort of smoke pushing around the room. The one thing that you notice straight away is a lot of that darkness is concentrated around Mrs. Smith. So you can actually see it almost as a halo, a shadowy halo around Mrs. Smith's body.
And does it look like it's doing something, or does it look like it's sort of smoke blowing in the wind, or does it look like it's got some sort of behind it?
Some agency. Can I get... No, actually, there's no need. It doesn't look particularly organized, if that's the question, right? So it's just a swirling mass of darkness. There's more of it around her. And you're obviously particularly paying attention to her, so that's why you've got that focus.
And this darkness, is it kind of coming out of the speakers as well, obviously, with all the kind of the noise?
Yes, yeah, it's like it's pouring out of the speakers. Like, so you can imagine smoke cascading out of the speakers into the room.
Okay, I'm gonna in a panic, I want to stop this because this is really painful. I'm gonna turn my desk over as I'm in my rush to get to the front of the room, and I'm gonna yank the plug for the TV out of the wall as fast as I can.
Okay, so you're racing to the front of the room to rip the plug out of the back wall, which will unplug obviously the TV.
Try and turn all this noise off. Yeah.
Smithy, are you doing anything at this point?
Yeah, I think I react in the same way because I realized, well, I don't like this noise, and I'm a technical guy, so I think I rush forward as well.
Okay, and Lou?
I'm going to check up on Freddie. I'm just going to keep an eye because he's collapsed probably near me. Because he's up in the back, and just check if he's okay. I'm not a technical person. I just suddenly see somebody falling. I'm a bit worried because I've seen.
Do you want to make a empathize roll for me, please?
Okay.
The first roll.
And we knew how they went yesterday in scheme. Empathy. Empathize, mind, 4 and 1, 5 dice. Yep, we've got no successes.
Let us start how we intend to end.
All right. So look, he's just spasming, and you're trying to remember. Hold on, what is it you do when someone's spasming, right? So you're having this moment of panic as he's obviously quite distressed in front of you. You're not really sure what to do other than maybe not touch him. Okay, at that point, while you're struggling with what happens there, Sandy beats you to the cable quite readily because they were at the front of the class. So Sandy, what do you do when you get to the cable? Do you rip it out, or?
Yeah, I'm just gonna rip the plug out of the wall. And if there's like lots of plugs there, I'm not gonna worry about working out which one is which. I'm just gonna yank the whole lot out.
Yank the whole lot out. Okay, so you're literally grab this bundle of cables, right? Because the antenna cable goes into a wall. There's at least 3 power cables going into the wall. There's a whole bunch of cables. You grab them all in your hand and you yank them out of the wall, which there's a little bit of resistance because the antenna cable's actually got this little locking mechanism at the back end of it, so it gives you a bit of resistance as you pull it. But you rip it out of the wall, damaging all of the cables in the process. The TV continues to provide that static feel for a couple of seconds after you've pulled the cable out, but then it goes dark, and the sound, at least from the TV, also stops at this point.
Does the sound stop from the speakers as well, or is it
No.
still right?
No, the speakers are still making this sound, and Mrs. Smith is still lying on the ground. Smithy, you sort of get up to the front at this point. So what would you like to do, Smithy? Because Sandy's is holding, effectively sort of almost gripping in their fists this bundle of cables they've ripped out of the wall.
Yeah, but so Smithy, I want to try to understand why the noise is still going on. So
right, well, so
figure that out.
So just to explain, so the speakers are like, do you guys recall those sort of almost foghorn-like speakers? I don't know if you had them in the UK and Sweden, but in Australia, they were these sort of almost foghorn-shaped speakers that came out of
like megaphones kind of thing.
Yeah, like megaphones, and they were used to ring bells. So they're not connected to the TV at all. They're actually part of the PA system of the school.
Yeah.
So their cabling's going back into the roof and then disappearing off into the distance. Now, Smithy, you know that. So
yeah. And
there's only one speaker in the room, right? So to be clear, it's not like you've got 7 speakers sort of around you. You've only got one.
So I'll try to get that to stop playing the noise somehow.
Okay, so there are chairs and there's a table. The speakers are, not that high.
So I push a table towards the ball where the speaker is and the chair and climb up on it and try to rip the cables or do something more clever.
Okay, do you want to make a tinker roll for me, please?
Sure. Let's see. So that's tech 4 and tinker 3, 7. One success.
Perfect. Absolute perfection. So you cut the cables at the back of you wrench the cable out of the back of the megaphone speaker, and it goes silent. So the whole room has now fallen into complete silence. It's still pitch black. Well, not pitch black, but it's dark, right? So the room itself is dark. There's no light coming from the TV anymore. The lights themselves were turned off. You can still hear sound outside of the room. So there's obviously this sound is still coming through other speakers, but you're now insulated from the majority of that sound. What do you want to do? So Mrs. Smith and Fred are still sort of spasming.
Yeah, I guess if I'm going to go and have a look at Mrs. Smith, see what I can do to help her.
All right. Well, it's pretty much the same thing. So it's an empathise check to see if you can.
Okay. My first ever use of my things from the third dice. See if they treat me well.
For all of us.
No. Oh no, that's one success.
Awesome. Okay, you're able to put Mrs. Smith in the correct position, which is on her side, and clear her mouth so that to ensure she's not choking. Do all the right things. She's almost completely non-responsive. Is the thing that you note straight away. Like she's not conscious in any material way. So her body is spasming, but it's like it's an autopilot rather than a person who's looking at you or connecting with you in any way. Okay, so about 20 seconds after you've got... Sorry, go, yep.
So this is quite shocking for me because she's the one person in the whole town that, apart from maybe the band, that I can rely on. So I'm going to be getting quite desperate. I'm going to try and slap her on the face and say, wake up, come on, wake up. See what I can do to try and rouse her.
Okay. As you're trying to wake her up, she starts to spout words at you. So both her and Fred are both spouting what are very clearly words. I mean, there's no debate that it's a language. However, it's not English. It's not a language any of you are familiar with. It sounds quite harsh and sort of very forceful language. It's got a real clip to it when it's spoken. And they're just muttering these phrases. And then after about 5 or so seconds or 10 or so seconds of that, they both suddenly start awake. It's almost like they're coming out of a nightmare, you know. So they're sort of, and they sort of, you know, lift themselves up off the ground, both of them, almost at exactly the same moment. At that moment, the sound that you can hear from the rest of the school also goes silent. So within a second of them sort of taking that deep gasping breath as they sort of leap forward, all the sound in the school goes dead silent. And it's the exact opposite, right? Because you can imagine in every classroom there are kids who have got their hands on their ears, crouched down, and then there's suddenly no sound of any kind.
Weird.
What do you? It is weird. What do you do?
What was that? What the hell was that? What?
I'm gonna quickly make sure that I put down the broken cables as if kind of it was nothing to do with me, Governor.
Yes, Mrs. Smith is sort of starting awake and looking around. She goes, "What are you all doing? Why am I on the ground?" You know, she's obviously quite confused. She sort of picks it, you know, she sort of lifts herself up off the ground, as does Fred. They both pull themselves up. They're looking around. You know, what's
you had a seizure. You had a I don't know. What do you remember?
What do you mean? What do I remember? The last thing I remember was switching the television on for you to start watching the show. I don't understand. Did I have a fall?
Yeah, there was loads of noise came from the TV and came from the speakers, and yeah, and you had like a I don't know, like an epileptic seizure or something.
Right.
It's only lasted a few seconds, but you know, you were. I'm assuming that I've kind of confided in her about my condition.
That is correct. You have.
So she knows that I kind of see sound. And I said, look, the sound was it was all around you. It was dark and black, and it was evil. It was trying to hurt you.
Okay.
I'm going to go babbling on along that kind of line, slightly hysterically.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. Look, I'm better. But I imagine we'll need to talk to the principal. I think just stay in your seats, and she says, "Now, Sandy, I think you need to calm down. Maybe we need to take you to the school nurse. Maybe I need to go to the school nurse. Why don't we do that, and we'll come back. Now, the rest of you just stay here. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll just leave it at that." And
Miss. Hi.
What is it, Smithy?
Can I come?
What,
do we need to bring
I
Freddie?
guess so.
Yeah, I was going to share that
yeah,
with Freddie as well. I mean, he had the same problem with the back here. I mean, he.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Freddie, you better come and Smithy, you come with Freddie, and Lou, you come with Freddie as well.
Yeah.
Sort of, now, okay, all right, okay. That feels like half the class. It is half the class. The rest of you stay here.
Yeah.
And she sort of leads you all out as this sort of small pack of human beings, you know, emptying the class of half of its residents in a heartbeat. Now, the next little bit goes quite quickly. So you're all sort of, you take Smithy to the school nurse. The school nurse, you know, doesn't particularly find anything of any amazing things, but does suggest that maybe today people should be going home early because, you know, Mrs. Smith and Freddie at least need to be checked up. There were a couple of other students in some of the other classes who had the same experience, including Matt, your co-band member.
My mate.
Your mate, everyone's mate, Matt. So you've all, so that sort of winds itself out, and we sort of pass through into the next scene. Now, that night, so you're all sleeping in your various abodes. When you all have this moment of connection. So in your dreams, you see each other in your dreams, and you remember that the next morning quite distinctly. So you don't talk to each other or anything, you know, sort of truly bizarre, but you have very distinct memories of each of you being in each other's dreams, and indeed, for that matter, other people from the science class appearing very strongly in your dreams. Okay, so the next morning, it's the same sort of story as yesterday. You get up, you go through the rituals that we described earlier. You see the parents. You head into school, ready for another, you know, full day. Lou, you're running late again, panicking about it. Smithy, you're still sort of asking the fundamental question, why are you even bothering to finish school when you know what you want to do and you're not really sure that school's the answer? Sandy, you're really not sure if you want to go to school today, but staying at home is, even considering what happened yesterday, the worst of the two options. You rock up to science class, which is later in the day today, and there's this guy at the front of the class. Now he's an old, heavily built guy. He's got a big grey-white beard, bushy hair. You've seen him at the school. None of you have ever, don't even know what his name is, but you understand maybe from North Star, you know, one of those weird science guys that's been floating around. He's standing at the front of the class, and I'm not going to attempt a Russian accent because I am literally the worst, and every time I try, my kids
go on, Thomas,
break
go on.
into laughter. No,
you know
I
you
can't
want
do
to.
it. I just, it's so bad. What was it? How's it go? No, I can't even begin. No.
You nearly
so
did.
bad.
You nearly did.
Yeah.
I almost went there, but it's so bad. So he's standing up the front, and he's this big, forceful voice as you walk in. What are you doing? Why are you so late? Who are you? Points at you, Lou.
Yeah, I'm stunned because I'm expected to see Miss Smith here. I'm a little bit. I check the doors. I'll just make sure I'm in the right class because this isn't who I was expected to
Why
see.
are you looking at the door?
Yeah, I
sit down.
I just go ahead. I sit down, go to the back, sit down.
God, do you people not understand? This is science. It is important. It's more important than anything else. You, strange tall child in the front, name one element from the periodic table.
Who's shouting? Is that loud enough
Shouting
to result for me to kind of see the sounds?
Ooh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. And it's like a red wave coming at you, right? Because it's full of rage and anger, right? Like he just sounds angry.
Okay.
And he looks angry.
My reaction is to go. "Ah! Ah!
What is wrong with you?
Ah!
What is what why the late child, the screaming child? This is why no one teaches.
Whilst he continues to shout, I'm going to continue to go "Ah! Ah!" until he stops shouting.
Okay, so Smithy, you can see this is heading south at about 150 kilometers per hour. Is there anything that you'd like to do, Smithy?
I think I'll start shouting too. Hey, mister, keep it down. Don't shout. Don't shout. Damn it.
Don't shout. I am not shouting. I don't think. Am I shouting?
Yes, you are.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm not shouting anymore.
What?
I have stopped shouting.
Can you not shout a bit more?
Oh, okay. I will not shout anymore. I will. What's the word you English speakers call it? Quiet. Okay. I'm not shouting. Will the child stop shouting if I stop shouting?
Yeah, as his voice comes down, I'll start recovering. As I can't see these horrible red daggers of sound anymore.
Right. Okay. All right. We're all calm now. We're all calm. So
I'm gonna take
I will not talk to you anymore. Child,
so I just take
What
my
are you
drink
doing?
from the bag and have a drink and kind of wipe my face and then I'll pull my hood up and just sit in the corner, kind of protecting myself.
Yes, I think this is good. Yes. Go to the back. Yes, that's good.
Okay, yeah, I'll go to the back if
Right.
he tells me to. Yeah.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's incredibly abrupt and rude, if that was not clear already. Right. Okay, so you, the child who spoke, points at Smithy.
Yeah.
You come up the front now.
All right. And
Are you going to scream if I talk to you? I just need to know.
No, it's all right.
Okay. All right, that's good. You up the front.
Yeah.
You seem smart. You can come up the front and listen. And you, the child who was late.
Yeah, teach.
What is your name?
Lou McDonald.
Lou. But like a toilet.
Now, hi.
That's a very strange name. I don't like you very much. You stay at the back. Okay. All right. Today we're going to learn about electricity. I think you learned about it yesterday. There was some child's TV show. Today we'll do it properly. And he disappears for a second and comes out wheeling this does everyone know what I mean when I say a Van de Graaff generator?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Bruce? All
Yep.
good? Cool. Okay, so he wheels this Van de Graaff generator out. It's the classic mushroom sort of looking thing. So it's got the big bulbous top head, then it's got the quite thin metallic shaft. There are a bunch of sort of rubber sort of raised stands sort of coming out from it. They're on wheels in their own right, and he rolls it out into the sort of middle of the space. All right. So this is how static electricity works. I need someone to volunteer to show the other students how it works. What about you, late child? You seem like you're you're a very reasonable person.
Just slowly get up and start walking up to the desk. It's volunteering. So I start heading up to the front.
Excellent. Yes, you. Yes, that's right. Now, stand on the rubber thing, the pedal, the pedestal. That's the word.
Yeah.
Now put your hands on the machine, and under no circumstances get off the rubber pedestal while still attached to the machine. Do not let go of the rubber pedestal while still attached to the machine. I need to say this twice because it's such a biggie.
Right.
Right. And he goes away for a second, and then in the classic, Van de Graaff generator scene, you see Lou's hair rising away from his head as the static electricity is being pushed through his body. Okay. So while that's all happening, you will notice Fred's not here as well. So both Mrs. Smith and Fred are not in the class. Okay. He finishes this display of static electricity and shuts the machine down. What do you want to do now, guys? So, Lou, you're allowed to move away from the machine. We can cut out of the science class, by the way. There's it's up to you, or you can talk to him. What would you like to do?
I want to find Mrs. Smith. So I'm gonna when there's a moment, I'm gonna put my hand up, very kind of gingerly, to ask a question.
Do you need to leave? That's okay. It's okay if you need to leave.
I just have a question. Where is Mrs. Smith?
The other teacher, yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Well, look, she's very sick. She did not wake up in the morning. I think her husband took her to hospital or something. It's all very tragic. I believe she's at the local hospital. I don't know anymore.
Okay, and he did say I could go, so I'm just going to pick up my bag and leave the classroom.
Where are you going?
You said I could go. I'm going to visit. I'm going to visit Mrs. Smith.
Am I allowed to just let you go? Isn't there a rule about that or something? Don't students have to stay in class?
Is he stopping me though? Because I'm walking to the door.
No, he's not stopping you. He's almost having a conversation with himself while you storm out the door. Right? There's absolutely no connection to you in this conversation.
Right,
he is literally talking to himself.
So I'm gonna go out.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to the secretary's office and ask about Mrs. Smith. Or the headmaster's office.
Yeah, well, so you go to the sort of front office, which, has the administrative staff for the school in it, who are the people you would communicate with most under any normal circumstances. The principal's usually, I'm here to help the students, and terrifying to every student. So most students are not talking to the headmaster, but they are definitely talking to the front office staff, who are infinitely more approachable and far more likely to gossip. So they're there. You rock up. Hello, Sandy. What can I do for you?
I just heard from that new teacher that we've got in science class that Mrs. Smith is very, very unwell. Is that true? What's happened to her?
Well, look, I wouldn't want to say, but since you've asked so nicely, and I know you're very close to Mrs. Smith, I'll just say this. I think that turn she had yesterday was far worse than we first thought. I think she's gone to hospital. And they've sent this horrible man in her place, Alexei. He's terrible. Have you talked to him? It's absolutely terrible. Rude.
He shouted at me.
Oh, darling, I just don't know. So terrible. Yes, he's just so horrible person.
Where did he come from? He's not even Australian.
No, well, apparently, look, according to his file. Now, can you make either a charm or a contacts roll at this point, please? It is up to you. Which of the two?
I will use charm because I'm reasonable at that. Okay, I got no successes there, but I'm tempted to. So I take a condition to push my roll, don't I?
You do. That is correct.
So I'm gonna be upset.
Okay. So apply the condition. For the sake of this conversation, apply the condition after the roll. So make the roll with the full dice and then apply the condition.
And then it's -1, isn't it, for the condition?
Yeah. That's correct.
Okay. I got no successes that time either. So okay. I
Okay.
Just start
All right,
sniffling.
but you're obviously quite upset, and you know, in the as per the rules, oddly, there's the whole sort of, you know, what's the term they use? Moving forward, even with a failure.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
So you're quite upset, and she sort of goes, "It's okay, dear. Look, all I can say is I'd be paying particular attention to communism. Communism, Sandy. Just pay attention." She leans back, looks at you sort of slightly awkwardly.
Doesn't make any sense.
Perfect.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that to her kind of through my sniffles.
I know the wall has fallen, dear, but it wasn't that long ago. What if I said Yeltsin? She sort of leans back, having given you to what in her mind is clearly the most perfect clue. It means nothing to you. You hate modern history. You hate modern history. Okay. All right. So you know that Mrs. Smith is at the local hospital, and you're already out of class. Smithy and Lou, the class ends far earlier than it normally would because Alexei has no idea how long it's meant to run and what he's meant to be doing. So he sort of gives you this experiment and then sort of looks at you all as if expecting you all to sort of suddenly start providing him all the information he needs to teach you, as many a substitute teacher, particularly ones who aren't trained teachers, are wont to do. Is there anything either of you would like to do with Alexei in the room?
No, I think Smithy is scared of this guy.
He is somewhat terrifying. It's a reasonable response.
I mean, Lou's just combing back his hair down and probably getting frowned. But if Freddie's not here and Smith's not here, I'm starting to work out that Matt isn't here as well. So I'll mouth that to Smithy. Where's Matt? Have you seen Matt? You know, quietly today.
No, I haven't. No.
No, that's true. None of you have seen Matt.
No.
Let's go after Sandy. Let's find her.
Okay, we'll find Sandy, and it's probably easy to sneak out of the class if he's still talking to himself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No issue whatsoever.
Yeah.
All right. So you all you basically just pick your bags up and walk out the door, right? Like there's not even any great subtlety to it.
No.
And once we're out there, I say to Lou this, well, the hair thing was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Nope. Still kind of just not really. Dude, I mean, I'm still trying to probably still pick his hand up and a little bit still comes up. He's like, not really.
And when you touch certain materials, of course, you get a little static electricity.
Your definition of cool mine is not the same thing here, Smithy. Probably walk by a chin.
So you come out of the classroom and, wend your way, wend your way sort of out of the school. I'm just going to make sure that we're and head out of the school. You find Sandy at the front desk, still in a perplexing and confusing conversation with the front office lady, who it still makes no sense.
Okay, when I see these guys, I'll kind of break off from that conversation and tell them what she told me, that this guy is called Alexei, but apparently I asked where he's from and she said, pay attention to communism, and then mentioned Yeltsin. Now
Who?
He's some Russian guy, isn't he?
Ah.
I don't know what she means by that. Is he a communist? Are the communists taking over? I don't know.
Well, the Russians are communists, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, aren't they? They're all communists. Every Russian is a communist.
Yeah.
That's right. Especially after the collapse of the USSR, they're definitely communists.
I don't know any better. Obviously, I'm 17-year-old.
No, exactly. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you find you're all sort of gathered there. What would you like to do? And may I just take a 1-minute break to grab a drink of water? I should have been better prepared for that. But
that's cool. No, that's fine.
Sure,
I
sure.
could do with a 1-minute break as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so just intermission, people. If you're watching, we'll be back in 60 seconds.
That's right.
Honestly.
I'll try reconnecting. I've been having a bit of technical trouble. So I'm leaving and coming back in again.
Okay.
Just gonna mute.
Oh no, have we lost Nicholas?
He's just rebooting back in. He was having some issues.
Is this going okay, by the way? I should ask.
I think it's going okay, except for the dice roll bit.
It's an interesting mechanic with the small dice pools and the successes, but you only need one, right? So it's under normal circumstances, it's quite fascinating. I've got a party that's now done 4 or 5 sessions, so some of their skills are up to 5.
Wow.
So they're rolling 9 dice, 10 dice for some things, and they're still getting no successes at surprisingly inconvenient times. It's quite hilarious.
Yesterday's Twilight game we were playing, just trying not to roll 90s and 100s. Yeah, don't roll 90s and 100s. And I was like, great, now I'm rolling 90s and 100s.
When I was just out of high school, Twilight 2000 became a thing amongst my friends for a very short period of time. And I just remember it being unremittingly lethal, like so lethal. And I just remember characters dying all the time or being injured. Actually, it was worse than that. You would get injured. And of course, you had real world healing rates. So your character would be injured for several weeks recovering from a wound. And it was like, anyway, it did not last long. I must be honest. We did not play it for very long, which is odd. I say that because I backed the Twilight 2000 Kickstarter quite heavily. So, I'm not quite sure what to make of that.
It was a good game yesterday, and I really enjoyed it. But yeah, lethal. I think I was. Yeah. No, none of us got shot. So.
Oh wow. Yes, well, I'm looking forward to the Twilight 2000 game mostly for the same reason that I've got all the other ones, because I like nicking the mechanics from the rules because they're quite transferable because of the ubiquity of the year zero engine. So I've actually found that quite useful. I'm doing a Japanese hack of Vesson right now, and it's quite useful to be able to sort of pull some things in from some of the other bits and pieces. All right, sorry. I was just asking, by the way, are we streaming still? I should ask.
Yep, we are. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, this is going to sound very embarrassingly mortal. Is this going okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good. Okay. So you're all parked out the front of the school. You see Alexi actually come out of the class and get into a large black sedan. So it's quite huge. So cars in Australia are not huge. We have big cars, but we don't have that sort of American style, massive vehicles. And this is a very large black car. You can see a sort of large figure sitting in the front seat. You can't make them out because they've got reflective glass windows. So it's all sorts of ominous black vehicle.
Someone in addition to Alexi.
Yes, Alexi gets in the back seat, not into the front seat. So he's being chauffeured around by someone.
Okay.
And you see the car sort of pulling quite slowly, as if the engine is not particularly powerful. Certainly, Nicholas, you would not rate the acceleration of this vehicle.
Do we have
particularly poor?
Did we walk here, or have we got bikes?
You can have bikes. There's no reason why you can't.
I think I want to follow this guy. He's weird. Kind of evil, angry sounds coming from him. So I'm going to grab my bike and say, let's see where he goes. Let's follow him.
All right.
All right. Okay. You'll get on your...
Come on, Lou. Come on.
Yeah. All right. I'm coming along. I'm coming along. But after this, I want to check up on Matt, after this.
Yeah.
So do I recognize the make of the car?
Oh, you could. A comprehend roll would be required though, because it's quite a odd car.
Is it going to be a Russian communist USSR car?
Comprehend. Oh, well, that's all of 3 dice. I think. Yeah. And nothing. An extra dice with because I'm a gearhead.
Why don't you take 2 extra dice because you're a gearhead?
No. I don't recognize this car.
You don't recognize this car, but you do recognize. Well, you do know that it's not an Australian car. So it's not manufactured in Australia. It's clearly something quite unique.
I'm probably not Japanese either.
No, definitely not Japanese.
Is it a very old car? Does it look like something we'd expect from the 60s or something? Or does it look like a modern car?
Yes. Yeah, it's got big wings on the back, that sort of feel to it. Those sort of big wing vein
like
spoilers at the back. I think that's the sort of, that sort of feel. But it looks, but it's got nothing like the horsepower that you'd expect from a big American car. It's moving quite slowly and quite poorly. All right, so you're pedaling along behind it. It pulls up at the hospital.
Okay, well, that's where we wanted to go anyway, isn't it?
It is. So you see Alexi getting out of the car and the front door opens and a big guy like this sort of steps out of the front of the vehicle, bald, wearing the dark sunglasses,
heavily built, black suit, all kinds of security, heavily built, ominous cat about him. He's probably well above, 6 foot, and weighing in at, sort of 130 kilos or so, just to mix my imperial and non-imperial measurement. It's a very strange thing to do height in imperial and do weight in kilos. So he's this big guy, and he's wearing a black suit. He does have that little earpiece that you can see coming out of his ear, as well. And he sort of gets out the front and sort of follows behind Alexei, sort of a couple of steps behind, just this big hulking dude sort of, crunching along. And they both head into the hospital.
Do you want to go and have a look at his car, Smithy?
Yeah,
Do you want to drive it
I'll
off?
do that. No, I don't think I have the nerve for that.
No, maybe not.
All right. So do you want to, now that you're much closer, you can actually see writing on the side of the vehicle, although it's not in letters that you innately recognize. So there's something quite odd about the writing itself.
Is it Russian?
Can I get a comprehend check, please?
I can try. So I get 4 dice because I get -1 because I'm still a bit upset. How do I get rid of conditions in this? Is it like sleeping or talking to my?
So
it's like talking to my anchor.
You can. There's 3 fundamental ways you can rest your way out of it. You can go and talk to your anchor, which is a bit tricky at the moment, obviously. Or if you have someone who has leadership in the group, they can actually heal people's conditions.
Okay, can I heal myself with leadership?
No. Oh, actually, no. Sorry, I take that back. The answer to that question is actually yes. Oh, okay. Of course, it was right here. Okay, that's annoying. But for now, let's.
Well, I'll make this roll with 1 minus because I'm still upset anyway. So I'll make the roll to see if I recognize the writing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I get 4 dice. I get 2 successes with that.
Oh wow. Okay. It's definitely Russian.
Right.
You have no doubt. Well, it's definitely Cyrillic, which is the alphabet of the Eastern European countries, at least those affected by Saint Cyril and his fine work. So
with 2 successes, can I get do I remember having seen this in a magazine somewhere and I know what the word says?
You can remember the words. You can't read them per se, but you can certainly memorize the name of the vehicle, and when you get access to something that allows you to look up Cyrillic words, you can make sense of it. The vehicle itself is you're right up against it, right? So it's clearly sitting quite low. So the vehicle's sitting very low to the ground. It's obviously quite heavy. By the way, unfortunately, no, it appears you cannot use lead to heal yourself. No. The other thing that you can do with lead, by the way, which is arguably the superpower of lead, is you can use it to create a dice pool, which you can then share out to other players.
Okay.
So once in a session, you can make a leadership roll to sort of provide a pool of dice, and then you can farm those dice out when people want to do things.
Okay.
You can't give yourself those dice, but you can give them to other players.
And does that last for the rest of the session, that pool, or is that for?
No, it lasts for a roll. It's for a roll, so you can basically apply the dice to the roll that you're making.
To one.
Or they can apply the dice to that roll.
But I can't split that pool between Nicholas and Bruce for different.
Oh no, you
roles.
can. Yeah, that's what I mean. So you create a pool of dice, and you can hand out those dice as you will to anyone in the.
But that pool, does that have a like a shelf life? How long do I have to use it in a certain time, or do I lose it?
No, it'll last until the end of the scenario.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So the so you've looked at the car. It's heavy. It's obviously sitting low. It's clearly a Russian vehicle, to be so direct, or at least somewhere from Eastern Europe. But Russia's the only place you guys would think of as manufacturing vehicles. And Alexei and the bodyguard have gone into the hospital.
Should we follow them in then, guys, or do we want to do something else in the car?
We don't.
Well, we want to go.
I don't know.
I want to go and see Mrs. Smith anyway, and Matt, see if he's all right.
Yeah.
All right. So you pass through the
Let's do that.
So you pass through the big doors into the hospital itself. I mean, it's a small hospital. It's very small. It has, all of half a dozen rooms in total. Normally, it's only concerned with minor injuries and sprains and other things. There's no one at the registrar's desk at the front of the hospital where you would normally expect to see a nurse who's checking people in and making sure that they're there. You can't see Alexei or the bodyguard, but you can hear his voice. And he's clearly getting quite excised somewhere nearby, yelling at someone, and every now and then slipping into, non-English because he's getting so emotional. You can see the doors to the sort of rest of the hospital off to one side. You can tell his voice is not coming from there. It's actually coming from around where you would normally be taken when you first come into the hospital if you had an illness or if you had a sickness. So there's normally a small emergency space, and his voice is coming from in there. But there are doors to the wards which you could go through, or you can go and see what he's doing.
Is there a board here showing who's in which room, which patient?
Not here.
Right.
On the other side of those doors, though, you reckon there will be?
I think my priority is to try and find Mrs. Smith. Yeah.
All right. So the doors themselves are easy to open. There's no challenge there, and there's no one currently there. So you go through the doors, they swing open, and yes, right sort of just on the other side of the doors, there's a big board and there's names and rooms sort of, all stuck up on the board so that nurses can quickly identify who's who in the zoo and where they are. You can see that, three names that you instantly recognise are Matt, Fred and Mrs. Smith. Two of them have been placed, so Matt and Fred have been placed in the same room. Mrs. Smith has been placed in a separate room.
Okay, I'm going to go down to Mrs. Smith's room, I think, then.
I'll check up on Matt.
Yeah, I was going to check over Matt, but because.
All right. So that's just a couple of doors down from Mrs. Smith's room. So basically, because it's like I said, it's not a very big hospital. It's not like they're spread out. So there's just one corridor with a couple of rooms coming off it. About two doors down from where you're standing is where Mrs. Smith's room is. About two doors beyond that is where Fred and Matt are. So you move down into those spaces. When you enter the room, and you see basically the same things broadly anyway, classic sort of hospital beds type scenario. So they're laying on these hospital beds. They've got the sort of a chart, hanging off the back of the bed. The patient, in the case of either Miss Smith, Matt or Fred, are just sort of laying almost rigid on the beds. So they're quite they're not sort of sunk into the bed. They're almost pulled out straight, like they're in a spasm, or they're, you know, locked into place. Probably the most confronting thing about all three of them is they're all on ventilators. So you can see that they've got these, you know, face masks around their faces and tubes running off those face masks. And there's, you know, a lot of beeping. It's not very loud at this point. So Sandy, you're not sort of experiencing anything, but
Okay.
there's a lot of machines. There's a lot going on. And it's quite confronting because this is a small hospital, right? So you haven't really seen this sort of level of, you know, people surrounded by technology in hospital beds before. So maybe Smithy and Lou, what would you like to do?
You know, I want to check up. I mean, we see Matt on the ventilator onto that side, and I mean, there's nothing really to do. I'm just hoping he's not right, but I'm not having. I'm also getting a wee bit concerned because I'm getting a little flashbacks to when my Lou's sister passed away as well. So I'm getting a bit panicky as well about that, bringing back a lot of bad memories. So hold his hand. You'll hang in there, mate. You'll come back to me. Come back to us because you got good mates around here. There. I mean, I'll keep an eye on Freddy's as well, and into it. And I was going to say, if there's the fruit bowls, probably pinch a couple of pieces as well and put them in pocket. Yeah.
Yep. So there is a fruit bowl, and there's sort of uneaten jelly, you know, on the tray by the side. When you grab Matt's hand, it's like grabbing like a wood. Not that their hand is actually, you know, hard per se, but it's completely ungiving. So their hand is locked into this really rigid shape, and it doesn't have any bend in it at all. So, you know, when you grab it, it just doesn't move, right? So nothing gives when you move it. It's like they're stiff as a board.
Oh, that's
to use the term.
Yeah, that's weird because that didn't happen with my sister, but she wasn't there. So no, that's Smithy. You know, this isn't right. I explained that you shouldn't be as.
This looks really bad, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What's this? Is shit. Shit.
Yeah.
Now,
I checked with the same with Freddie as well.
Yep, same, exactly the same. So Freddie's in exactly the same posture, and they're both in the same posture. You can see, you know, the machines are pinging away. Smithy, do you want to do anything specific at this point?
No, I don't think. No.
No. Okay. There's nothing really to glean beyond giving them comfort at this juncture. So what we might do, so Sandy, you're in Mrs. Smith's room.
Yeah.
And obviously you can, you know, it's the same scene. So she's flat, stiff, everything locked, almost like rigor mortis, right? Like, I mean, they're not dead, but it has a similar sort of feel to it. There are machines running.
I'll probably do the same as Lou and Smithy, which is sort of take her hand and tell her, you know, it'll be all right, just get better. As soon as I realize she's not kind of responding to anything that I'm doing or saying, I'm going to have a look at the chart at the end of the bed.
Yep.
See if there's anything on there that's kind of explains what's wrong with her.
Okay, so as you're looking at the charm, you have this sudden flash, and you see the machines kind of do the same sort of pixelating spasm that you saw on the TV. You don't get the shriek, that you got before, but the machines themselves all suddenly, get wavy lined, and the screens all stop being quite so clear. Right as that happens, you see this image in your eyes. So you can see it. It's like there's a duplicate of Mrs. Smith sort of reaching out from her body. It's all shimmering light and colors, and surrounded by these, by colors that you would normally expect to see around sound. But this is quite distinctly, looks like a person sort of reaching up from the body and pulling out of the body.
Can I touch it? Can I sort of take it by the hand and help it? And I assume it looks like Mrs. Smith.
It looks very similar to Mrs. Smith, yes.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So you reach out to touch it, and when you do, you can't feel like a person, but when your hand touches the space where that body is, you feel your hair sort of lifting away from your body.
Does it seem to react to my touching?
No, except to sort of, it seems to be aware of your presence though, because it's definitely reaching for you.
Right.
So there's a definite sense that it's reaching for you, but it doesn't seem to feel your hand when you touch it in the same way that you react to it.
Okay. Now, so what's going through my mind, this is obviously very freaky. Is this Mrs. Smith kind of dying and she's becoming a ghost, or is this a good thing for what's going on? I kind of don't know. I'm gonna say, tell me what to do. Tell me how can I help you? Tell me. Don't go. Don't leave. Tell me what I can do.
Okay, as you're yelling that out or saying that loudly, one assumes.
Yeah, I think it's quite. I'm not being covert with this. I'm just slightly panicked.
Okay, so Lou and Smithy, you can hear Sandy a couple of doors down, because I mean the rooms are quite quiet. As they start to, you hear them talking. You see Fred and Matt's bodies actually become quite a bit looser. So they suddenly cease to be that sort of stiff form. You see the same thing happen with the machines. So the machines go fuzzy, wavy, the beeps stop being, consistent. All of those things go on. And at the same time, you hear both Matt and Fred starting to talk in, a non-English language again. And it's the same language that you heard the other day in the science lab. And so they're saying something, but you're not sure what.
Is it the same language that that Alexei's fallen into? Does it sound the same as that?
Make an investigate roll, I think.
That's quite good. So I've got mind of,
because I think investigate's the closest thing to sort of observing. I've checked this out before.
And investigate 3, so that's 2 because I'm still upset. So I get 7 dice, and I get 2 successes.
Wow, absolutely, 100%.
Right. Okay.
What's weird is, and Mrs. Smith is also uttering these words, right? So they're not coming from the form you can see those. So there's quite a juxtaposition here. So the form you can see is reaching out to you, but it's not talking and it doesn't have its mouth moving. At the same time, the body is talking and its mouth is moving. So it's quite it's quite disconcerting. I mean, there's a complete disjoint between the two forms. They're not connected in any material way that you can identify, except that they look exactly the same. So the voice coming out of Mrs. Smith's mouth does not sound like a woman's voice.
Right. Okay.
It's quite deep. It's like Mrs. Smith is imitating a man.
Okay.
So it's not that it's not her voice box that's making the sound, but it's like someone is deliberately trying to imitate a man's voice when they're a woman. You guys are having a not dissimilar experience in the other room. So both Matt and Fred are sort of talking. They're not saying the same words this time, whereas last time they were. So last time they were basically uttering the same words in unison. This time it's like two separate voices talking out of two different people, yelling the same things over and over. Well, not yelling, talking the same things over and over again. There's actually quite a repeated pattern of the communication.
Okay.
There aren't any apparitions coming out of Matt and
Not that you can see.
yeah.
It's weird.
This oh god, this is like we should disconnect them, I think.
Whoa,
It's
hey,
the machines.
this is Matt. This is our mate.
Yeah, but it's it's machine.
I mean, yeah, I have a look at the machine. Is it? Yeah. Is the machine like different? Do we look at the back of the plug? You know, you see the machine. I mean, looks like a normal hospital.
There's plugs and cables and like these things are really complex.
Yeah.
So there's endless cables and plugs and things running out of the back of the machines, and there's several machines and they're all connected in some ways. You really are lost in regards to where these things all go.
Yeah.
Smith, I pulled the plug.
What?
You pull the plug
with the intention of just cutting the power to these machines, and with the option to start them up again. With what I think is a simple procedure to start them up again.
Okay. Can you make a calculate roll for me, please?
Ooh, calculate. Where's all right? Tech 3, good. 4, 7 dice. Ooh, 2 successes.
2.
Okay.
Wow. Good. Well, good for them. Okay. All right. So it's not clear how, but you're actually able to turn off the machine in such a way that you can turn it just back on again. I'm not going to pretend to even understand how you've managed to pull this off, but it's like, sure, this is highly complex medical equipment, but I'm an expert. So I
can fix cars. So there.
I can fix cars, and it turns out complex medical machinery. So you unplug the device, and there's like this, like the classic sort of alarm noise in a hospital goes off, right? Because you basically all the alarms are basically responding to this person's now dead, because we are no longer receiving any information in relation to this person. They don't have a pulse. They don't have a respiration. Everything's going. What do you do?
But go on.
What you? I mean, this is our mate Matt. Well, maybe not Big and Freddy after the jokes he's pulled on us, but they're still.
So is his vitals? Has he stopped talking? What's happening to Matt?
Yes, he has stopped talking.
Stopped talking. Yep. And has he got back to this rigorous state, or does he breathe? Okay, so he's back in the rigorous state, and he's not breathing.
No, he's not breathing.
No.
Plug him back
Okay.
in.
Yeah, and
back in now.
and, yeah, I power the equipment up again, and
All right. So you
keeping
basically
my fingers
plug
crossed.
all the bits back in and flick all the switches, and through an amazing degree of skill, because blind luck has no place in this story. You are able to reconnect the machinery. I'm going to give you a condition, however, because you have basically almost killed someone. I will let you choose which condition you would like to take. There are a number that you can choose from.
I will take a mental condition. Really.
So I guess
I'm upset.
Yes, I was going to say you
really.
can just take upset at this point. Would seem like the right answer. Okay, so you've plugged in the machine. You've saved his life, but like he was dying. Like there's no other way to interpret it. Without the machines, these people will die. When you do that, they all stop talking. So when you plug him back in and turn on all the machines, at the same time, you can now hear the very loud voice of Alexei sort of coming closer, heading down what you assume is he's now, whatever argument he was having, he's now resolved, and he's now moving into the open area on the other side of the ward doors that you came through.
Okay. What's happened to the apparition with this noise and that? Is it still there?
No. So when the mouse stops talking, the apparition disappears and the body just sort of goes into a stiff shape.
Okay. As soon as that happens, and I've twigged that they're talking Russian, and I think this big Russian guy, is a Russian too. In a kind of fit of anger, I'm going to run out of the room, run up to Alexei, basically charge at him and bash him on the chest and say, "What have you done to them, you bloody Russian? What have you done to them?"
Oh, no.
Okay. Alexei's like pushing the doors open. So he's pushing the doors open to come into the ward, and you've smashed into him as he's sort of stepping in through the doors, right?
I'm not trying to hurt him. I'm just bashing his chest and shouting.
And the bodyguard's behind. The bodyguard is behind him. So the bodyguard's not in front. The bodyguard's behind. So first of all, just as you do that, Lou and Smithy, you hear Sandy, come tearing out of the room, and you hear, them shouting at the top of their voice at someone. You can't quite make out what they're saying in detail because you're now, a number of rooms away, but you can definitely hear them. So just before we go to what happens next, what would you two like to do?
Well, I think Lou's hearing about this. If he's charged around, seen around, if he's heading towards Alexei, I know he's not going to be up for a fight. I do want to try and stop him or grab him to put him back if we can. If we just step out of the room.
All right. So you come out of the room. Yeah. Obviously, heading in that direction, and you can see Alexei, who, the teacher, and he's standing there, and Sandy, who's actually taller than Alexei. Like Alexei's a big guy, but Sandy's quite tall, just not very heavily built. Is like sort of standing there, hammering away at them in this sort of feeble way, and Alexei's like horrified. I mean, first of all, close personal contact. Second of all, stupid student. Third of all, emotional display. Like there's nothing here that Alexei is okay with going down. So Alexei sort of, what? Why are you here?
What have you done to them? They're talking Russian.
Boris, get them away from me! And you see this giant hulking arm just coming over the top of Alexei and reaching and grabbing Sandy's shoulder and just sort of shoving them away.
I want to try and like dodge that and keep whacking.
Okay, make a I think it's move.
Move.
Make a
yeah.
move roll.
Okay, well, it's 4 dice normally, but it's going to be 3 dice because I am clearly very upset.
You clearly are.
I got no successes yet.
Excellent.
I fail.
So, Boris of Russian fame lifts you bodily off the ground with one hand. Like Boris is a tank, and just shoves you away. You come off Alexei and sort of stumble back a number of steps.
Yeah, I think I'm going to fall heavily into like a medical like tray thing.
Oh, yep, like
and everything goes shattering and flying, making loads of noise. All this metal and glass goes down the collar. I probably like get a little few like cuts or something and bruises as I fall over.
Yeah, and syringes and other things are now sort of, falling down upon you. Swabs and other medical equipment. Lou, Smithy, what are you going to do? Sandy's been shoved back. Lou, you were running up to grab Sandy.
Yeah, I'm going to grab now because Sandy's been pushed around. I just try and get between him and Boris and just push my hands. Probably the most ineffective push against this tank, basically, and say, "Yeah, back off. Just bloody hell, back off from him." And
so Boris sort of steps up, grunts at you, seemingly unconcerned with your pushing. Make a force roll. You might find you're not as bad at this as you think you are.
Give it to him, Lou.
Come on, Lou.
One success. One success.
Success. Oh, okay. You sort of, hey, bud, and you just sort of push Boris back. Boris is surprised, to be completely direct. I mean, he's not fundamentally, driven away, but you've put more into it than he expected. I can't remember, what's Lou's force? Like what's Lou's?
It's
dice?
force is 6 dice in total, bod 4 and force 2.
That's right. Yeah. So you've sort of pushed him away, and Boris sort of, looks a bit amazed and a bit stunned, and sort of turns to Alexei rather than to you, right? So he's obviously looked directly at Lexi. So that's going on. You've given a bit of space. Smithy, what are you doing? This is all going south at, to use my favorite term, at 150 kilometers per hour.
Let's get out of here. Come on, let's get out of here. You stay off her, you commies. And
Alexei looks like, what? Boris, get these children out of here. Why are they anywhere near the experiments? Oh, sorry, the patients. Get them out of here. And sort of, jams them away.
Yes.
Boris just sort of slowly moves down the corridor, not chasing you, but in a clearly threatening way. In that sort of, if you're still here when I get to where you are, that would be unfortunate for someone.
So I try to grab a hold of Sandy and run away.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not really resisting. I'm making it kind of look like I'm resisting because I don't want to get beaten up by Boris again. And I'm shouting, "You're killing them! You're killing them! You commie Russian bastards! You're killing them!" At the top of my voice, as I'm letting Smithy drag me away.
Okay. And Lou, what are you doing? Smithy's got Sandy in hand and is pulling them away.
Yeah, as the back away, I'll keep around, keeping the space between them and Boris as they're heading out, and just say, "Yeah, you just back off and just says, don't forget to feed your gorilla and throw a banana at Boris." Obviously,
from the football. Nice.
Yeah, don't forget to feed it. Just back out from it. I'm sure it just hits some of his chest and lands on the ground or something.
Have we got any more of those? Because we can stuff them up the tailpipe of the car.
Yeah.
All right. So you run out through the sort of back exit of the hospital, like where the
where all the laundry is taken out to be, washed or whatever it is, and you're all three of you are standing out there. You can hear Alexei ranting at Boris in Russian, like just going off about something. It's clearly very, angry Boris. Very angry Alexei. What would you like to do now?
I think I would want to try to break into the car and see if there's any information we can find there.
Okay. All right. So, Smithy, that's what you want to do. Sandy?
Yeah.
I need to calm down. So I don't know quite what I'm doing, really.
Well, going and having something, going somewhere calming would be the most obvious answer. There's a beautiful lake. There's a parkland. I'll just go back to here. So there's the park here, which is very pleasant, very calming.
So I think I'm torn because I want to calm down, but I don't want to leave Mrs. Smith and Matt with these people who are doing weird things to them.
These terrible things.
I think for the moment, I'm just going to tack along behind Smithy and Lou, try to kind of catch my breath and just be like a lapdog, just following them for the moment whilst I'm regaining my senses.
Okay. And Lou?
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably try and help Sandy calm down a bit. Just remember, briefs, mate. I don't get this whole weird thing, but
have you got lead? Have you got lead skill? No.
You're the leader.
Yeah.
I'm leading by example, obviously, rather than any other way. It's not a very good example.
Actually, it was you and Matt. I gave both you and Matt lead skill, but that's not helping anyone at the moment.
No.
Sandy, I think we should see if we can find something in the car. Do you think that too?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Yeah. Then I'll do it.
Yeah.
Then if you say that we should do it, I'll do it.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's.
Yeah.
All right. So out comes the coat hanger. Out comes the coat hanger, and you slip it down between the window and the door to try and unlatch it. Make a tinker roll, please. Now, one thing on your character sheets that we haven't talked about, which is quite important. You all have a signature item, which you can use to give you a bonus to any skill that you can apply it to. So it's not that it only adds to one skill, it's that as long as you can feasibly argue that in this particular circumstance, that thing is assisting you, then you can claim a 2 dice bonus to your skill roll.
Right.
I make this point because I'm pretty sure Smithy's got a toolkit.
Mm-hmm.
I can't find anything on my character sheet.
Oh, does that apply to any role that we can justify it, Thomas?
Oh, right. No. It's there. It's toolkit. Yeah, definitely toolkit.
Yeah. It's any skill that you can apply it to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use that's sort of, how often did you say? Once per? Or
No, this is unlimited. As long as you can argue that I've got this and it's useful here, then you can deploy it.
Yeah, so I'll take up the pieces of my toolkit that helps with breaking into cars.
Perfect.
4 plus Tinker 3 minus 1, that's 6 plus, was it 2 for the?
Yeah. 2 for the toolkit.
Yeah, 2.
2 successes.
Cool.
Perfect. All right. Click. The door is open. You have access to the Russian car.
Can you hotwire it?
Oh, yeah, these are infinitely hotwireable.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Let's really fuck them up and take their car away.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, let's
So-
do that.
Do it. All right.
Good.
So, are you going to actually hotwire the car?
Yeah.
Okay, no
Yes.
worries. I'll let you just
Can I-
use your existing Tinker success for that.
Now I'm getting kind of a bit vengeful about these guys. Can I roll my lead thing for that dice pool?
You can.
Does
So
that make
basically,
sense
for
at this
every
moment?
success you get 2 dice.
So I get 5 dice.
So
in
if you get
total.
2 successes, you get 4 dice,
4 dice.
3 successes, 6 dice, so forth and so on.
Okay. Okay, I get 2 successes on 5 dice.
So you have a dice pool of 4 dice
4.
that you can distribute
Yep.
to the other players when they're making rolls. To be clear, you've got to distribute that before they roll.
Yep, that's fair. Did you want an extra dice for hot wiring, Smithy?
I think we
Well, no,
got
give
that
it-
for free on
Up to
the
successes.
extra success.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
So you pop the bottom of the, underneath the steering wheel, pull out the wires. This is indeed a 1960s vintage vehicle, and it starts.
Hey, you can drive, can't you, Smithy? You got a van.
Oh yeah, sure, no problem. Just
Let's take-
the sort of the clutch and everything in the same places. It's not the other way around because it's communist.
No, unfortunately, unlike us. Well, oh, sorry. No, what am I saying?
Probably would be,
You're
wouldn't
in
it?
Australia. Everything's the opposite way around. Every other country on the planet has it the opposite way around, except for the UK. So, absolutely.
Does that
Steering
for the
wheel's on
pedals?
the wrong side.
Yeah,
the pedals are on the wrong side. The
But-
car is completely the wrong side.
But it's a gear shift, or is it a automatic?
Oh no, it's not an automatic. This is a 1960s vintage car.
Yeah.
So there's a
So-
big
But,
stick gear on
yeah.
the side of the side of the steering wheel.
So
Yeah.
presumably we know like this area. So there's a nice secluded bit of wasteland or in the woods or something. We can take this and then.
So Jindabyne is in the middle of a national park, and the national park is forested in all directions except where there's farming.
Right.
So, yep, there's heaps of places to go and disappear into, sort of the wilderness, as they say. So you tear out of, you
Tear.
gently move out of the car park.
Yeah,
As Smithy's
with a couple
trying
of
to, yeah, exactly. And also, hold on, I'm on the wrong side of the car. So
Yeah.
every time you try and do anything, it's like, I must remember which side of the road to drive on. I'm not sure what I'm doing here. You slowly pull out. Can I get I think it's a move roll. It's definitely a move roll.
Driving the car is this?
Yeah.
Yes, Smithy.
Okay.
Did you want? I'm going to encourage you and give you an extra die for that. Come on,
I
Smithy.
think
You can do it. You can drive anything.
yeah, that's a 3, and the move is 1. That's 4 minus 1, so that's 4 dice. Yeah, with the extra, and 1 success. Yes.
Hey.
All right. You see the local cop sort of drive past you as you're pulling out
Yes, yeah.
down.
No.
But they just drive on, not realizing,
Seeing that-
what's going on.
Like you say, if the windows are tinted as well, I don't realise it's us
Yeah.
kids in here.
Yeah, that's right. It's like they nod, wind down the window, nod to you.
It's like
And then
stay
drive
cool,
on.
stay cool, keep driving, Smithy.
Stay
Stay
cool.
cool, stay cool. Drive casual.
And you go out.
Yeah.
You go out into the woods, basically. So it's forest, except like I said, where it's farmland. So it's basically and it's really fascinating because it's literally sort of forest to the north and farmland to the south, right? So it's like there's a straight line along the lake edge, and when you're on the south of the lake, it's all farmland, and when you're sort of going up around the lake into the north, you hit forest. It's really quite distinct. So you pull up into the northern bit, and
Can I just
sort of
talk
up here.
quick 30 seconds, please, guys? Can I just got to
Sure.
very quickly do something?
All right. Well, anyway, you're going to end up here. I don't know if you can see my mouse moving on
Yep.
the screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, good. Oh, I should have asked that earlier. So it's up here, and you've pulled the car aside, and then assumably you're going to dig through the vehicle to see what's inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have a good rummage.
I must say, the last group did not steal the car. So, so I'm pleased that the vehicle has been stolen. That's good. Now, Nicholas, I'm just making sure we keep account of time. So,
Yeah.
I
So the
reckon
next
it's-
session starts in 2 hours.
Right. Yeah. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah. And it would be
So that'll
great to have a bit of a break.
Oh no,
between.
definitely. The pace accelerates as you move towards the finish line in this module, so it'll get faster. Yeah, no, that's all right. We'll be finished in an hour to an hour and a half. At least I hope so, because it'll be midnight if we're not.
Very sorry about that, guys. I'm back.
No worries. Okay, so you've pulled up. We were just saying, Dave, where the vehicle is pulled up here in
Right,
the in the darkened green bit.
Yep.
Just to be clear, this light yellow color represents all the sort of farmland heading
Yep.
out, and these green bits here represent the forests that I was referring to earlier. So you pull up into the darkened forest and start rummaging through the vehicle. The car itself is not that exciting. It is old and smelly and, in Smithy's eyes, not particularly well maintained. And to be upfront, probably not particularly well engineered. It is very heavy, and everything is very heavy. The doors are incredibly heavy to move. So even opening the doors requires quite a bit of sort of arm movement and shoulder movement. Even
Are they really thick? Like they're like armored or something?
Yeah.
It's like, so this
Yeah,
is like
absolutely.
Okay, a bulletproof car kind of thing.
It is like a bulletproof car. As a matter of fact, in every way, it's like a bulletproof car.
Why does that Alexa guy need a bulletproof car?
You
And
see
a
his teaching
bodyguard.
skills?
Yeah, that's true.
He does.
Irate
That's right.
parents.
That's right. It's a dangerous job. He does have vodka in the back of the car, though. So at least in that sense, he's a traditional Russian. So there is a bottle of vodka and a couple of glasses in the back of the vehicle. I assume. Well, what else do you want to search in the car?
Can we open up the boot?
You can.
See what's
Okay.
in there.
So when you open up the boot, you find. So there's this. What looks like a big radio set is probably the closest thing that you can imagine to it. Yep.
Okay.
It doesn't look quite like that. It looks far more complex than that, but that'll do for now. So basically, there's a giant amplifier radio set. It has a really odd antenna. It's got this kind of almost U-shaped antenna. So the antenna itself is in the form of a U. It's quite thick, and it comes down into a central piece that feeds directly into the top of the system. There's a lot of dials and other things. It seems tuned. It is currently off, and it is running. It's connected directly to the electricals of the car. So you would need to run the car to power the system.
Okay, should we turn it on? Smithy, you're the expert with stuff like this, aren't you?
All right.
Now we'll see whether Smithy blew it all on those health devices.
Yeah, let's turn it on.
Right.
And then
Okay.
try to figure out how it works.
Okay. That would be, so if you want to figure out how it works, it's a calculate roll. If you just want to turn it on and hope for the best, it's a tinker roll.
I think I would want to try to figure out how it works.
Now, I should point out,
Go.
Smithy is currently carrying a condition, Dave.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
can I can lead to try and calm him down?
you can, and you've had enough time to do so.
Okay. I'm gonna get the vodka bottle and have a swig, and then offer it to Smithy and say, "Look, come on, Smithy, have a swig of this. Let's try and calm down and work out what these people are doing."
Yeah.
So that's a lead roll. So that's 6 dice with -1 for my condition. So I can do that whilst I'm upset as well, can I?
You
Being
can.
upset doesn't stop me. Okay.
No.
And I just need 1 success to cure his condition.
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to take another condition in order to cure your condition?
To attempt to cure his condition. Well,
Is it? What do you think? Is it worth it?
Or use a lead die from the pool.
So I can't use it on myself.
Can't apply them to
No,
themselves.
but for this.
Okay, I won't push it, but I'll give you one of my pool for the actual roll then. So I've tried to calm him down with the vodka. Hasn't really worked.
No.
But I've kind of patted him on the shoulder and said, "All right, so if you do your best, you can work it out, and I'll give you a dice."
Okay. All right.
Damn! No successes.
No successes.
This feels quite important to me.
Yeah, I'm.
Now,
I'm going to take another condition, or I'm going to try to use my shame.
Yeah, don't forget you have shame.
Shame, yeah.
And the shame gives you an automatic success if you can invoke it. Is that right?
That is correct.
Right.
You can use it 1 per session.
Yeah.
Once per session. Sorry, not 1 per session. To do so.
Yeah. Right. So I might be bad in school and everyone thinks I'm failing and everyone's disappointed, but damn it, I'm gonna understand what this is. So
all right,
I'm failing school.
So
that's my shame, but I really want to show everyone that I'm not stupid.
You're good at something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can. So are you just turning it on, or are you trying to understand it?
Understand it.
Okay. All right. Okay. So fiddling with the dials a bit and sort of remembering how Alexei was talking about how important, electricity and electromagnetics were. This machine appears to be tuned to a particular set of electromagnetic waves, so a frequency, if you will, and in particular, waves that are associated with magnetron. So the thing that allows the ships to float through the sky, the magnetron effect. So he's clearly tuning in to those wavelengths in some fashion with this machine.
Right. So tell the others.
I'll explain what I felt the apparition that I saw with Mrs. Smith and the static I felt when I touched the apparition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to? Would anyone like to make a investigate or comprehend roll?
I can try investigate. I'm quite good at that.
Investigate does seem better for Lou as well.
Okay, I'll give it a go. Are we all giving it a go?
Yeah.
Or
I'm not.
Okay. I got one success on investigate.
okay.
Lou?
Okay.
Okay.
3 successes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Smashing it out of the park. Okay. So, all right. The machine is dialed in to receive signals from the wavelengths that the magnetron effect are affected by. Now, those wavelengths are not usually used for communication, right? They're not a radio wave. They're not used, in that range. So, other than detecting a magnetron field, there's probably not any normative value to having a sensor or detector. But this is really complex stuff, right? This is not just a simple machine. It doesn't just go ping. It's got speakers. It's got dials. It's obviously tuning. And it's definitely using parts of amplifier and sound systems as part of its design. So it's not just, the machine that goes ping when I'm near a magnetron field. The feeling you got when you touched the body suggests that whatever else that might have been, that person or that thing you touched had an electromagnetic field. So you were clearly touching an electromagnetic field because, that's what caused your hairs to raise. It had exactly the same effect as the Van de Graaff machine earlier, in the sense that electricity was passing through your body, and in particular your hairs were responding to it.
Yep.
So there could be something to all of those things. Lou, because you got 3 successes, you do remember something quite tangential to this conversation, but with 3 successes, I think it should be mentioned. You may not remember, but when you were in the hospital room, the people who were talking were saying the same sentences in a loop. So it wasn't new. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was like listening to a song on playback, right? So it wasn't new. It was just endlessly the same couple of sentences coming around again and again and again from both people, even though they were different sentences, and even though they were different people or different voices, they were on a loop. And the thing you remember most distinctly about that is, in both cases, that loop was exactly the same duration.
Passing that on, I mean, that's that loop in the duration. That's the one with Sandy and Smithy as well. Passing around the loop. The duration, do we know how long that duration was? Is it like a 2-minute song, or?
It's exactly 15 seconds long.
15 seconds.
Is this machine set to something on a 15-second cycle?
There's a lot of dials. It's certainly set to a what do I say? It's set to a field, to a wavelength. In and of itself, it doesn't have a timer. No,
okay.
Not in that sense of the word. No.
And I'm no expert on this stuff, but I've remember hearing my dad talking about it when he was doing some electrical work at the house at home. If there's an electrical field, and what we felt with the people in hospital was an electrical field, do we just need to earth them somehow and discharge that field that's on them to make them better? Is it this field that's causing the problem? Or should we just try turning this on and see what happens? What do you think?
So this is a receiver, not a transmitter.
Yeah.
As
Okay.
far as you can ascertain,
Yes,
yes, it's a
yeah.
receiver. It doesn't have a microphone.
It
Does or
does
doesn't?
not?
It does not. It does
Does
not have a microphone.
Let's turn it on anyway. Let's see
Yeah,
what it's
yeah.
let's see what it's receiving.
All right. It's back to tinkering.
Again? Well,
Did you
Yeah,
want
right.
another extra
Again with the
dice,
tinker.
Smithy?
Again with the tinkering. Oh, hold on. Did you do tinker
the-
before or did you do calculate before?
calculate. Well, it doesn't matter. It's the
Calculate.
same. Yeah, I did
No,
calculate.
it's different skills though. It's different skills.
Yeah.
That matters quite a bit.
Yeah, but I did
okay,
calculate
yes.
to understand how it works. But now,
Yeah. So yep.
when I
You can roll a
understand
tinker.
how it works, I think when I understand how it works,
You
will
can
that
have
give
a
me a
bonus. You can have a bonus 2 dice to turn it on.
Did you want an extra one, Nicholas?
No,
No. Okay.
I don't need them. 2 successes.
Cool.
2 successes. Okay.
Yeah.
You turn the machine on, and yes, you don't. As long you don't touch any dials to start with, and the machine comes on, and you can hear Russian voices talking through the machine, and quite a number of them. It's more than 3. It's probably more like a half a dozen or so voices, all shouting at the same time, and all starting their shouting at the same point, ending it, looping back, ending it, looping back. So it's like all of those voices are playing separate tracks, but on the same endless loop, and they're caught, at the start and the end point in exactly the same way. However, over the sorry, go on.
I was just saying, how many people in total at the school were affected, like Mrs. Smith?
You're only aware of 3.
Only, okay.
Which is Matt, Fred, and Mrs. Smith.
Smith. Yeah, okay. Sorry, carry on.
No, that's all right. However, over the top of the Russian voices, and it takes a little while, but with 2 successes, you can sort of tune it, as it were, to get their voices because they're on a slightly different wavelength. You can hear Mrs. Smith's voice.
Okay.
Now, there's quite a material difference to that experience. It's not on a loop.
And what is she saying?
I need to get out of here. I need to get out of here. I need to get out of here. It's dark and I feel alone. Where am I? Like it's that sort of communication coming out of the speaker. Like someone's trapped in a dark place. But it's not on a loop. It's not exactly the same words being replayed. It's someone sort of muttering almost to themselves repeatedly.
So we could probably assume that Fred and Matt are on another frequency here somewhere.
Yeah.
Because that's Mrs. Smith's voice. And I recognize Mrs. Smith's voice anywhere. There's no speaker, there's no kind of microphone on this or anything that you said.
There isn't, but with some cunning technical work, you might be able to stitch something up.
Do we want to see if we can talk to them?
Yeah, I think let's swing by, use the equipment from the band, get the microphone hooked up, see if we can talk to them.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or do I bring the band up here and stuff is because we certainly don't want to be caught by the cops because I'm sure they've reported that this car's that we can hide it here.
And they've probably said it was us because I guess we're the obvious culprits.
I don't know. Maybe the physical assaults and the running out and the yelling at them for being communists. something might have twigged. Yeah, It's quite
Yeah, those
possible.
these communists don't understand us teens these days.
That's right. It's communists.
Commie Russia.
Does the car have speakers in
It
it?
does have speakers. Yes.
Ah,
And you
Yes,
should be
I
able
see
to take a speaker and make it into a microphone.
That is correct. You
Good.
can do that.
cool.
So
Go
shall we
on,
try
then.
that?
Go on then, Smithy. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're the expert.
So that's a tinker,
A lot
right?
of, there's a lot of dice rolling on, on
Yeah.
Smithy's tinker skill.
So I have
Okay.
6 dice for that.
Did you want Did you want an extra dice for this one, Smithy?
Yeah.
It's probably
you
again. It
think
feels
yeah.
feels quite important, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take the die.
right. Yeah.
Nicely done.
2 successes.
Ooh.
Wow, you guys are on fire.
Easy.
Okay. So late into the night, or rather late into the evening, Smithy's there, you know, taking the microphone and turning it into, you know, sorry, taking the speaker and manipulating it into a microphone and going, don't you know how to do this? While everyone else is going, what the hell? How does that work?
Was me
there's,
and Lou were just drinking vodka.
yeah, drinking the vodka in the background, going, I feel much better. By the way,
Yeah.
all of you can, technically this isn't how it works, but it's enough of a delay that I feel it's okay. You can both wipe away your conditions at this point.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, so you get to the, it's like, I don't know, midnight by this point in time. Because you've had to pull the speaker out of the car, you've had to manipulate it, you've had to rewire it, you've done a whole stack of other things with basically no tools. And then you've turned it into a microphone, you've plugged it into the non-existent microphone jack in the side of the machine. But having pulled all of that off, you find yourselves holding a large flat speaker and turning it into a microphone, which you can talk into.
What do we say? And I hand it over to Sandy. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
Try talking to her.
Mrs. Smith, can you hear me? It's Sandy.
Who's that?
It's Sandy,
Who's that?
Mrs. Smith. It's Sandy Pearson.
Oh my God, are you in here too?
No, we're outside. We're trying to find you.
Find me where? What do you mean outside?
Well, we're in the woods. Well, it's pitch black here too. Where are you? Can you tell me anything about where you are?
It's just pitch black. I can't see a thing. It's so dark. It's like there's no light at all. I was going quite mad.
Don't go mad, because we're going to rescue you.
And every now and then I hear these weird voices.
What voices are those? Are they speaking Russian?
Oh, yes, I probably. I mean, they're definitely speaking something Eastern European. Yes. So, where are you? You're in the woods. Why are you in the woods?
Yeah, well, it's a long story, Mrs. Smith, which I won't go into right now. Something weird is going on, and it's something to do with a big Russian guy whose car we seem to have taken possession of.
Big Russian guy. Oh, are you talking about Alexei?
Yeah, Alexei. Yeah. Do you know him?
Oh, he's been at the school for the last 2 weeks. He's very weird.
Well, I think he's involved in what's happening. The seizure that you had the other day, and I think he's behind it all. I'm trying to work out what he's doing and stop him. Where does he come from? Where did he? Do you know where he comes from?
Well, Alexei's one of the lead scientists from North Star. He was one of the original scientists on the original magnetron project in Russia.
Okay, well, there's something. Well, I don't really understand it. Smithy, you understand it. What's going on?
Well, and I try to understand.
So it's
Describe
Smithy
this
here,
about
Mr. Smith,
frequencies and
in a way that Nicholas doesn't understand, but hopefully he does.
yeah, exactly.
It's insert make believe science here.
Yeah,
Deliver outcome here.
yeah,
What if
exactly.
we reverse the polarity? I think is where we're at.
Yeah,
just to
that's
be
Star
clear
Trek.
with our science, you know. So you basically Burbage, you know, a bunch of neo-technical words into the microphone. The Mrs. Smith goes, that makes no sense at all. No, no, only okay. She goes, hold on. I was helping Alexei with one of his experiments. He was insistent that we had to help him. Myself, Fred, Matt, a couple of the other students, we all went down into the basement. And he had this giant Van de Graaff generator, the biggest one I've ever seen.
This
and
is
he
at
asked
the
us all
basement
to,
of school.
Yes, it's directly under the science labs.
Okay. And what happened there?
Oh no, the map's not there. Oh, whoops. Hey, stop. Sorry. Yeah. Let me. Oh, it is really annoying when it does that. Okay. I'm trying to get to the map.
Sometimes I find it's easier if you're not. Oh, there we go. Yeah, cool.
All right. Yes. So we were, you know, here under the science labs over here. There's an entryway through the sport next to the sports courts that takes you into the basement of the building.
And what? Well, this is.
So what did he have you do?
Well, we were all testing it, right? He said it was for some big display he was building. And so he was testing it. And so he got us all to sort of put our hands on the machine and he turned it on. And, you know, we all had, oh, it was great. You know, all my hairs floated up and it was the best Van de Graaff machine I've ever seen. It was amazing. But he kept on yelling out about, you know, more power. I need more power. I don't know what the guy was on.
Sounds like your standard Russian communist to me. Needs more power.
Yeah.
More power. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, so that's what we were doing. But I keep on hearing these voices now. They keep on saying the same things over and over again, like endlessly.
Do you know what they're saying?
No, I don't speak Russian. But I do hear Alexei's name being yelled out.
As if people are calling for him or shouting at him or...
Could be either.
So do we need to go down and turn that machine off or something then?
Yeah.
Maybe it overloaded or something and...
Yeah.
If it had too much power going into it.
Well, it's the only league we have.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then get Matt back.
Do what? Sorry, Lou?
Anything to get Matt back. I'm there, you know, get the others back as well. Yeah.
He's my best friend too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine too. No.
Should we hide the car here then? And then go back?
It will take too much time. We need to hurry.
You think we should drive back into town?
Yeah, sure.
We're like we're gonna get caught by the cops, aren't we?
No. It's late. And
yeah. Cops don't go to bed, do they? They do work all day and all night.
Yeah, but we can probably hide it at my dad's garage, and then walk the last bit.
We don't want them to get this back, do we? Because this is our only way to talk to Mrs. Smith.
Can we...
Go on, Lou.
I was going to say, can we take the machine out? Does it look like it could be transported out? If we dump the car, we can take this recorder back. 'Cause this is the way we can communicate.
Yeah.
Through them.
Can we take the machine out of the back?
Yep. It's it's plugged into the car, but it's not. There's nothing particularly complex about that.
We need to find a battery when we want to use it next time. But we probably want to keep it.
Yep.
You get one at school.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
My only worry, Smithy, is if we drive the car back into town, they're bound to have reported it missing, and it's very noticeable. It's not like no one's going to notice it. So we might get caught by the cops and get into a lot of trouble.
Yeah, but these commies, they're up to no good. They don't want to report this to the police, would they?
Don't know. No, they might have a lot of power.
Well, all right. Let's not drive all the way into town, but a bit of time.
Okay. Yeah,
we don't have to walk the whole. Yeah. All the way.
All right.
All right. So
let's do that.
You're going to drive the car into town. Is that the plan?
To the outskirts.
Plan.
To the edge of town, to sort of.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna put the machine in my backpack.
Okay. All right. So you take the machine out of the boot of the car and put it in your
Smith
backpack.
To be patient and hold on. We're going to rescue her somehow.
Okay. And you drive the car to the edge of town, and is the plan to just dump it at the edge of town, or to push your luck, or what's the deal?
Yeah. Just leave it.
Leave it. We're going to wipe our fingerprints off it.
Well, we could
like they do in Starsky and Hutch and everything.
Yeah. Or alternatively, we could try and burn it with the vodka. That might burn. Pour it up and start a small fire. See if we can destroy the car that way.
I can assure you, based on recent experience, that is exactly how joyriders deal with cars that they steal. They will steal your car, they will drive it around, and then they will put it on fire. I know this because I now have a new car.
Ouch. I hope it's better than the
yes.
car.
Yeah, it's certainly smaller. So you can indeed set it on fire. Cars burn really readily. All that stuff inside a car, it's highly flammable.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take
all that good 60s plastic.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Check in the glove box to make sure there's nothing in there of interest that we want to take out, and otherwise, let's just burn it. Then, yeah. Screw Alexei.
Yeah.
Okay. You open up the glove box, and there's a gun in there.
Bloody hell!
Okay.
Like a pistol.
I'm not sure I want to take a gun.
I will take the gun because I remember Boris is pretty damn big, so maybe we can use it to scare him.
You're not going to shoot him.
No, I'm going to scare him. Scare him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know how
I'm not going to shoot him.
Do you know how to handle a gun?
Well, we've all seen the shows. We always sat and watched them around this box.
So
how hard it could be.
Stick it down the front of your trousers and hope for the best.
No. I'm just gonna. I've got it in the jacket pocket. Put it in.
Okay, it's a really big automatic firearm. Like it's. I mean, it's not a machine. Sorry, what I mean by big is it's a big pistol, right? Like it's gigantic. But you can slip it into the pocket and it half fits, and the back handle of the gun is sort of sticking out.
Or do we just want to chuck it into a lake somewhere or something?
Well, we'll get rid of it after. If we meet that Russian guy, I just just threaten them. That's what I was to make back of.
Getting done for nicking a car is bad enough. Getting done for carrying a firearm around is going to put you in prison for years.
Nah. Only if you get caught. We're not going to get caught. We're doing the right thing.
No, we're not going to get caught.
Okay,
Hang on, can I charm Lou into leaving the gun behind? Because I don't like the idea of him walking around with a gun.
There isn't anything like that in Things from the Flood. This is this isn't one of those games where you can manipulate the other player characters in the same way that you can if you're a corporate. It's just down to Lou deciding whether
So I have to convince Lou. Lou,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
madness, mate. This is madness.
Look.
Leave the gun behind.
We'll
Throw
get
it in
rid
the
of it.
bushes. Yeah.
Well,
Throw
I'll get
away
rid of it, but you saw how big that guy is. We've got to. I'll get rid of it once we save
Yeah.
Mrs. Smith and Matt.
I'm really uncomfortable about this.
If any trouble comes in, you guys didn't know I had this. All right.
Yeah, but you're
Yeah.
in the band, mate. I mean, what's going on with you? I mean, you're always late to school. You're always looking tired. You're never showering anymore. I mean, come on, mate. Look, don't do it. It's not worth it. Put the gun away. You're one of the band. Come on.
I mean,
chuck it. You don't want to go to jail.
I could chuck it, but I could probably do the sneak to hide it. But
Chuck it into the bushes. Chuck it into the bushes. Boris can't get it. If we'll get the police to help us if Boris comes anywhere near us.
Well, we're near the ocean, aren't we? We're not that far away from
near
the lake.
It's a lake.
Lake, yeah.
You're hundreds of kilometers from the ocean, but you are near a big lake.
Yeah.
Fine.
Chuck it in the lake, yeah.
Yeah, chuck it. A rapid. Put a couple of stones in and just chuck it. Fine. Because I'm not going to chuck it in the bush. What happens if a kid finds it? Nah. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Fine.
Yeah.
All right.
You are.
Okay, so you take the big handgun and you hurl it into the lake.
Yeah.
Okay, which is easy to do because the edge of the town and the lake are synonymous, so it's not very far in walking distance from one to the other. So you hurl the gun into the lake and then you make your way to the high school.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's about 1 a.m. in the morning. So the school is pitch black. There's a couple of lights on here and there, but obviously the school itself is shuttered for the night.
Okay. Our bikes are still here, aren't they?
Or the hospital?
No, you left them at the
hospital.
Okay.
Yeah.
How far's the hospital? Because just thinking we could go and take the bike lamp and use that as a torch off the bike.
Oh, okay.
The bikes have got lights.
Well, it's only probably a kilometre away from the high school.
Yeah. Should we go and get?
That's another half hour. Yeah.
But at least we can see something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're fumbling in the dark, aren't we?
Okay, so you left the car at the edge of town. You walk into town, which it's probably a good solid 30-minute walk to get to the high school from the edge of town. Then it's about another 15 odd minutes to get to the school, get your bikes, and then ride back, which is all of 5 minutes on the way back. So it's about 1 a.m. I think that sort of balances out to being at about 1 a.m. 1:30 in the morning. The school itself is, like I said, it's dark. There's no one there. What do you want to do?
Let's try and sneak into the basement, I guess.
Go break into the school, sneak.
So
the school
in the
itself,
90s, is the school all sealed in?
No, that's a reasonably recent innovation.
Thing,
so there's no fences, all the way around the school. Well, there are. I mean, there's a low, sort of brick fence kind of thing, but nothing that's going to stop you just clambering over it. Yeah, no issue at all. So, and the school itself is quite open. So basically, you've got these blocks of buildings here, and here. You've got classrooms running there and there. You can see that there's a whole bunch of little classrooms, like what we in Australia would call demountables. So it's basically like I don't know what you'd call it. It's like a corrugated metal building.
Temporary classrooms, we have those.
Temporary classrooms, And you've got the sports courts, right, which are like the netball and basketball courts here, and you can
Indoor,
see,
outdoor. Sorry.
all outdoor. Yeah, outdoor.
Yeah.
Because we've got the hall over here, which is
Oh, right.
indoor.
Yeah.
So these sports courts are all outdoor, and you've got, this is the area you were pointed at to find the entrance to the basement, just across from the canteen.
So I suggest we come over from Calkite Street and just sneak in through those buildings at A block.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, so can I get a move roll from the person with the best move skill, please?
Probably not me. I've got 4.
No.
I've one in move and 3 in body -1. I still have the condition, right?
No,
you've
gone.
lost it now. Yeah.
Oh, right.
You
Okay.
cleared it.
Our
Okay,
long
it was me
afternoon
that
in the
lost.
woods mucking up Alexi's car made us feel better.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Good. So I have a total of 4 dice then on
Me too.
move.
Yeah, but it's not sneak because I'm really good at that.
Oh no, sorry, sneak. What am I saying? Sorry. Because I was sitting here going, why is Lou saying he doesn't have any good? And I'm going, what? No, that isn't. Oh, sorry, it's sneak. Sorry.
Right.
I'll just point out it's 11:15 at night, and obviously.
Yeah, no, fair enough, Thomas.
Fair enough.
It's sneak, I meant to say.
Right.
So Lou, would you maybe?
Yeah, seven dice. Yeah.
That's more than double better than me.
3 successes.
Ooh.
See, Lou, I just want to point out that at the beginning of this session, you were worried about your dice rolling, but I think it's come through.
Now it's been jinxed.
Absolutely. I'm saying it now so that when you have the final encounter, it goes back to being rubbish. Otherwise, what fun will I have? But I do need to say, I feel like,
the last time I ran things at Tales from the Loop, Matt and my brother Tony just rolled 6s all over the place. Every single roll had at least 2 successes. Just a bonkers dice rolling. Yeah. Anyway, so it's nice that we're getting some good dice rolling going on.
It is lovely to see. So you sneak in like
ninjas,
stealthy, stealthy quolls. Come on, let's put the quolls in because everyone loves a quoll. So they're a beautiful cat-like marsupial with lovely russet-coloured skin, fur, and beautiful white spots. They are really quite attractive. So I've always wanted to have one as a pet, but it's not legal. So a quoll, like stealthy little quolls, you sneak in unseen. And are able to open the door without making a noise. Just on the other side of the door, and luckily for you, facing in the opposite direction right now, you can see your friend and ours, Boris.
I'm suddenly thinking,
but he is facing away from you, and he hasn't noticed you open the door because you are literally that silent.
Yeah.
Now you're regretting not bringing the gun.
I'm most saying, if only we had a gun.
It'd be nice if we had some grenades, don't you think?
Yes, that would be the line. Thank you, Serenity.
Okay.
Uh,
Is there another way in? Is there a window a low window we could break in rather than go through the door?
Make a contacts roll. It's a weird use of the skill, but it'll probably deliver the outcome.
Okay, I've got 4 dice for that. Anyone got more?
No. No.
Contact. No.
I think Lou might. No.
I get one. I get one success.
No,
I get 1 success.
Get 1 success. Yeah. Okay. There is another entrance to the basement from within the building.
Okay. Okay. There is another door.
Right.
Close this door quietly.
Sneak around.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you sneak away and enter the building, and basically there's a janitorial entrance So where the janitor goes to deal with the school heating system, which is obviously also based in the basement, so the furnace. So you go through that door.
Yep.
Okay. You're creeping down the set of stairs. You come down through the furnace. There's a single door. On the other side of the door, you can see blue flashes of light through the sort of little, it's one of those classic sort of slip mirrors in the school door kind of scenarios. I don't know if you know what I mean, but the sort of frosted glass,
long,
a jobby.
Mm.
Yeah. So just, sort of up there, and you can see these blue flashes coming through the glass when you hit the door. And you can hear Alexi, right? Because he's got all the subtlety of a brick. So you can hear him shouting excitedly on the other side of the door, and you can hear these blue flashes, and he's just yelling at the top of his voice in Russian. Quite excited, quite clearly.
We need to find a way of shutting off the power, I guess, don't we?
Yeah.
Smithy, how do we go about shutting off the power?
We go to the central power shutting down place.
Thanks. That's
Also
helpful.
known as
Well,
the switch
which
box.
is the switch,
the
but
switch, yeah.
which is very handily located near the janitor's
Right next
offices.
to where we are.
Yeah.
It is handily located on the other side of this door.
So does one of us need to distract? Can we say it's frosted glass, so we can't actually see through other than the blue flashes?
That's correct. Yeah.
But can we hear any other voices other than Boris's?
No, you can't hear Boris. Boris isn't saying
not
anything.
Boris. Alexi's. Yeah.
You can hear Alexi, but you can hear now. Possibly to provide you with a degree of a better feeling about this moment than you might otherwise be having right now. You're actually a bit of a distance from where Boris was standing. So this is either a very big room or more than one room. And Boris is on the other side of whatever that is.
The other end, yeah.
So you have some space between you and Boris, right? Like it's not like he's 2 meters away from this doorway, as long as he's still where you saw him originally.
He's a small guy. We can take him out.
I'm thinking if one of us causes a diversion and gets them chasing them, then Smithy, you can go and shut all the power off. Or if 2 of us, if me and Lou cause a ruckus and get them to chase us, then Smithy, you can hide and then you can snip in and turn off the power whilst they're chasing. It doesn't matter if they catch us.
Yeah. All right. Let's do that.
Yeah, we'll keep them busy.
I'm not very fast, mind, but I'll do my best.
Yeah, we'll try and do that. So we're going to distract them both.
What's the plan?
Yeah.
Do we try and sneak in to see what's going on first, and then make it get Smithy to hide, and then make it really clear that we just kind of blunder in?
Yeah.
And go, let's call the police, and then run away.
Yeah.
All right. So
I'm going to give Smithy my bag with the machine in it.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
So if they catch me, they don't get the machine back.
Okay. All right. And so you give Smithy the bag with the equipment. Lou, are you gonna pop your head through the doorway ever so quietly?
Yeah, I'm going to sneak just before we start doing the distraction stuff. We've got that. And just get an idea of what it is. So another sneak. Two successes in the sneak.
Okay. Okay, so you put your head through the doorway and
Oh yeah, you already dealt with that. Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
Boris. Shit.
Yeah.
And
No,
Boris.
no.
You can see basically you're right down here at the bottom entrance. So right down at the bottom of the screen, that's your
Yep.
entryway. Don't worry about these doors. You can see a big panel of electrical equipment running along this wall. Like a really good old fashioned, I mean, you know, imagine it's Jurassic Park actually has the best example of this that I can remember off the top of my head. You know, where he goes off to reset the power and the velociraptors, you know, eat him. So it's like that. There's a big panel of metal, you know, sort of circuits and circuit breakers and other things running along this wall. There is a gigantic black power cable running into, you're probably struggling to see much more than blue flashes coming around the edge, but that's what you can see from sort of the doorway here. So you're sort of seeing, as it were, in that direction. Yeah, so you can't quite make out what's sitting on the other side. I mean, you've heard the description of the giant Van de Graaff generator, so you can probably make some inferences. On the other side, you can see a door that is not currently open, and you would infer that Boris is on the other side of that door. You can hear a voice yelling in Russian from the far end of the room, which you can't see.
And that voice is Alexei, is it?
It is your mate and mine, Alexei.
Right.
What do you want to do?
I wonder if, Lou, our trick should be we go back out and come in the other way. Maybe give Boris a huge shove down the stairs first, cause a ruckus, and then get them both chasing us back up the stairs. Because then they don't even need to come past Smithy, and Smithy can just come in, maybe even lock that door on the other side. What do you think? Or should we just go in and cause a fuss here? Because he'll probably get Boris to chase us anyway, won't he?
Yeah, we can get Boris out of the room, but I don't know if we can get Alexei out of the room. But at least if...
Do we do one at a time then?
Yeah. I'll tell you what,
you draw Boris off and I'll try and draw Alexei off.
Yeah, you try and do Alexei off, Sandy. I know exactly how to tick Boris off. I've already done it once before.
Yeah, sorry. But maybe the gun would have been a good idea now, but without bullets.
Okay, so take me through the plan, guys. What's the plan?
So I'm going to get Boris to chase me. So we're going to try and push him down the stairs, and just to antagonize him even more, I use the other banana to throw at him to wind him up that gorilla joke. Because if he wasn't antagonized then, he will be now, because I keep insulting him as being a gorilla, and get him to chase me around the school while I'm doing a hide and seek away from it. So that's how I'm going to keep Boris away from the.
Yeah, and then when I hear Lou running off with Boris, I'll probably be down at the bottom side, and I'll come into the main room, shout at Alexei, and then run out the same way that Boris is, drawing them both out that way. Leaving
and then
Smithy to come up behind to destroy it all.
I'm going to hide behind a door or something here at the bottom, and hopefully Alexei won't see me if he runs after Sandy, and I can sneak in and disassemble things.
I'm going to try and run him out the other way, back up the stairs, past Boris.
All right,
if I can, yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if any of you recall, but right at the beginning of this session, I said I'm really troubled by extended trouble. That was very bad use of English. However, what we're about to do is effectively an extended trouble mechanic. So, you know, there you go. Be careful what you wish for. So I'll just quickly give you a heads up on how it works so you understand. So each of you will roll your skill and describe your particular little segue. You're looking for a cumulative set of successes, which is a number multiplied by the number of players. You can burn conditions
to get to that number of successes. So basically, let's say it was 3 successes times 3, which is 9 successes. Then you would roll your chosen skill, describe what you're doing, and then if you didn't make the number, you could choose to burn conditions to get more successes. So the way the extended trouble mechanic works is that you spread the load basically across the players. But actually what you're doing is exactly an extended trouble mechanic, is exactly what an extended trouble mechanic exists to deal with. So I think we should test it out.
Yeah.
Perhaps this time it'll work better. Okay, so on that note, each of you needs to choose the skill you're going to be putting your focus on for your particular piece of the pie. So Lou, are you going to want to put a focus on the hide and seek bit or on the force bit? Is kind of the $1 million question.
I think only a bit of a force would be just to antagonize him, but because I'm going to get him to chase me around, it'll be the sneak, because I'm going to try and hide and pop up every now and again, just to keep him busy and try and draw him away. Yeah, basically taunt him, waving various bits of fruit at him and making those insults. I don't know why.
Trail of bananas.
Well, you know, I'll mix it up. You know, if we've got some nuts in there as well, I'll add that.
Monkey nuts.
Well, you do have grapes. I mean, you do have grapes, but I don't know how useful they are. You don't have nuts because hospitals don't, allergies. Don't give out nuts, unfortunately. But you definitely have grapes. I think it's a very high probability of some apples. You know, I'm feeling apples. Maybe an orange or two.
Yeah, and to add to the finale, if it really gets pretty bad, I will use the Jello.
I thought you ate the jelly, but okay.
Well, I was saving it for later. I was saving it to be shared for something else. But yeah. So yes.
All right, and then so Sandy, you've got your skill lined up.
It's going to have to be move, which isn't great, but it's 4 dice.
Well, but are you seeking? Well, so here's the $1 million question: are you actually looking to get away from Alexei, or are you looking to antagonize Alexei to chase you? Because are you particularly troubled if he catches you? Is the $1 million question.
No, I just want to draw him away far enough to give Smithy time to do what he needs to. So
okay, in which case you can probably use charm.
Okay, that gives me a extra die then. So I'll use charm then to try and taunt him.
Well, you can use charm or empathize actually.
Oh, empathize then. Oh yeah, definitely. I'll use empathize. That's much better.
Okay, all right. And then Smithy or Nicholas, what are you feeling from a skill perspective?
My goal is to shut it down and disassemble it. Well, at least make it not work. And so I was thinking that is Tinker, right?
Absolutely is. Yeah, that's completely correct. Because you're not really trying to understand the machine. You just want to turn it off, basically.
Yeah. And my toolbox should come in handy, right?
It absolutely will come in handy. That is correct. Okay. All right. So on that note,
two quick questions first. One, I've still got 1 dice from my lead from before. So who wants that? You might as well use it for this. It's the last one. Lou or Smithy. I can't use it. So
Smithy, you want to take that one? Because I'll probably, if it goes bad for me, I'll burn through a few of my conditions I haven't used them yet.
I'll give it to Smithy then, because it's more important that you turn the machine off than we don't get caught. And the other one was, I've got a crystal bracelet as my iconic item. Now I think that was a kind of a gift from Mrs. Smith from before, when maybe I did some work around her house or something. And I want to use that whilst I'm antagonizing Arkady. Arkady was the Russian guy I shot yesterday. Alexei, by saying, "You're killing Mrs. Smith. Mrs. Smith gave me this. She's such a wonderful person," and get my bonus for my iconic item as a result of that.
Okay. Yep. That sounds good.
Excellent.
All right. And Lou, do you want to use your iconic item?
I
'Cause I'm
was
pretty
going to
sure I've invited
suggest,
you.
yeah, it's a pocket knife, but hey, I don't have a lot of fruit, so I'm going to use it to slice up a bit to make it. And I will say it'll help you easier to chew as well, just to antagonize.
This is like
Just
the
click,
Battle of
click,
Umboto Gorge in Blackadder. If you've watched Blackadder, we get attacked with mangoes and guava halves.
It was a very sharp piece of.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right. So let me just explain. Sorry, I've now got the extended trouble rules in front of me, and I'd forgotten one thing. You must get more than half of the total number of required successes on your dice rolls before you can burn conditions.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Fair enough.
Now, half rounding, sort of down in my case. So that means between the three of you, you have to get 4 successes.
Okay, 9 in total, or 4 on the dice. Right.
Yeah, and then you can burn conditions to get up to 9.
Yeah.
Right, you still got to get 9, but if you get less than 4, you get no. You've completely failed.
Yeah.
Right, like it's a complete fail.
Yeah.
Okay, and to be clear, if you fail, Alexi's, mad plan will come off.
Okay. Can I one last question? Can you push a roll on an extended task? You can.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yep. All right. So I think we'll start at the top of the tree and work our way down. So Lou.
Go get Boris, mate. Go on.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
God,
give him
let's scare the. Oh my word, no. 8 dice. No, you did jinx this.
I know. I'm proud of myself right now. I'm feeling every bit of.
I'm going to push it with exhaustion. Yeah, because this is quite tiring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got him in front of us. So you slam the. So what's the strategy? You slam the door open, or you sneak through the door and then jam him down the thing and then run off.
Yeah, push him down. Yeah, throw him banana and start running. But I'm quite exhausted because I've not really been eating as well. So you hear the gargling of the stomach as well when I do this. It's just like this is the most embarrassing time to hear the gargling of the stomach.
Okay.
Off it. But then I'm just trying to you just can't catch anything for while that's going. So it's exhaustion. So pushing the roll.
Okay, now, sorry, Dave, did you give someone the extra dice already?
I gave it to Smithy, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for the actual turning of the machine. Seems wise. Okay, roll again.
Okay.
Come on, Lee. You can do it.
Come on. Okay. Not 2 successes out of that. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And you've ticked exhausted as your condition, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you just want to quickly describe how this plays out?
So he's running around. He's tired. Every time that sometimes Boris gets very close because when he's sneaking, you hear that gargling of the stomach giving him away, giving Lou away as well. As he's trying to throw the fruit, which makes absolutely no sense when he's doing this. So he's hiding through the school. He's going through the bins. If Boris is getting away or looks like he's going back, I bang on the bings and that. Yeah, you can't catch even a flu. You big
nice.
Yeah,
nice.
So that's going up above to keep him away.
So Boris is lumbering after you as you run around the school, hurling bananas, apples, oranges, and grapes.
Yeah.
As we've described. All right. So there's a smashing sound from the top of the stairwell, Sandy, and a almighty crunch as Boris hits the ground, and then Alexa goes, "Boris, what's going on, Boris?" And Boris goes, "It's okay, boss. I've got it." And he's, crunch, crunch, crunch up the stairs, and you hear, "Holy fuck!" And then, and then you hear Lou tearing off with this giant lumbering monstrosity chasing him into the darkness. All right,
Okay.
Sandy.
Yeah, all right. I stride into the room, looking on the right-hand side to see if there's a big like off button, a big off lever I can see.
Look, there's a lot of levers. There are a lot of levers.
And my intention is, okay, I'm going to start pulling them anyway.
What are you doing?
And you're an evil Russian communist, and I'm saving Mrs. Smith from your plans, your scum, your evil, look at you, you just shout and I hate you.
Okay. So he first of all, he's standing on this green thing here, which is like this dais that he's on, and he's got all these panels in front of him with, you know, lights and toggles and things happening on it. And he's and there's cabling. Probably more importantly, in the middle, there's this giant Van de Graaff generator pulsing out this blue light in quite regular intervals, sort of off the machine. With their hands actually laying on the machine are Mrs. Smith, Matt, Fred, and a number of other students who you didn't realize were ill, but actually were. And they're all sort of locked onto the machine at this point in time.
So can I just...
Yes.
Okay, no, sorry. My wife's just coming to something. It's fine. Okay, so I'm gonna take the bracelet. So is Boris coming down to...
Not Boris, but
Alexei.
Alexei's running. Yeah, absolutely. Alexei's run off the stage, right?
Okay.
Like he has. Well, hold on. Chum. Oh, empathize.
Yeah. Because my plan
with
will
your plus
be
2 dice.
Yeah, my plan will be to shove Mrs. Smith off the thing and then make a run for it through the door to the top.
Okay. Oh, right. So you're going to basically sprint through the room and out the other side.
The objective is to get
going up
Alexei
the stairs
out
that
of
Boris
the room.
is.
Yeah, exactly.
So where Boris was.
Yeah.
Just to be clear. So
to get him
perfect.
out of the room, so it's clear for Smithy.
Yep.
So
okay.
Roll my dice. Okay, 10 dice, and I get no successes. So I'm gonna put.
Oh, sorry. No, that's terrible. That's terrible.
Okay, I am again I'm very upset having seen Mrs. Smith.
Very upset.
Mrs. Smith there. And when I shove her, maybe she just falls down on the ground and looks dead or something. And this time I get 2 successes.
All right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, and tick your condition. So
yeah, I have.
Now, so you've shouted. He goes, "What are you doing, you stupid child? You're going to ruin it all. And I'm not a communist. I work for a capitalist. I am not a communist. Communist makes no sense."
And basically
charges down the dais.
Yeah, and I'm running out of the room, up the stairs, making sure he's following me.
Children. Yes, he's absolutely chasing you, yelling at you at the top of his voice.
Yeah.
You're going to stop them from coming back. They have to come back. You can't stop them. They have to come back. And he's chasing you as you go through the room and up the stairs. Okay.
Cleared it for Smithy.
I rushed in then when I realized they left the room and trying to get a grasp of what things are. And the first thing to focus on is how to get the power off. And so you have these leads going in and trying to figure out how can I shut them off.
Yep.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. So you can, well, it's basically a straight up tinker roll for you because that was what you'd chosen.
Yeah.
You can use your toolbox, and I think you've got an extra dice from Dave as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's 10 dice.
Cool.
Certainly sounds like it.
2 successes.
And the number of the counting shall be 2, not 3, and definitely not 4. Okay.
Did you want to push anyway, Timothy?
I think I'll go. I push it. I while doing this, I get sort of a discharge, and I get injured.
Okay. While you're pulling the wires out, you're partially
Yeah.
electrocuted. All right.
And I get 2 more successes.
No, hold on.
Okay.
Oh no, you can push a successful roll. Yep. Okay. Don't ignore me. The first sentence of push said you can, on a failed roll, you can push, but the third sentence said, and of course you can also do it if you want to get more successes.
Yeah.
All right. Did you get any more successes?
Yeah, 2.
So that's 8
So you got
in
4
total.
successes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Smithy. Dangerously reaching into high-powered electrical conduits and pulling them out, risking life and limb, getting shocked as he does so. Smithy starts shutting down all of these different levers and finds himself unplugging things and then running over to the dais and doing things. Meanwhile, Lou, you're being chased by by Boris, and Alexei is ranting after you, Sanding, and then he hears the machine powering down behind him, because I mean it was making a sort of booming noise as it was building up power, and you know you can hear it sort of suddenly go boo, you know, as if and the blue light stops flashing, and Smithy, you're in the darkness alone, and then suddenly you can hear Matt's voice going, "What the fuck am I freaking handcuffed to this thing?"
Oh, take it easy. Take it easy, Win. Yeah.
Hell,
We're gonna get you out here.
Like, I've been in the dark for days, but man, handcuffs? And he's like, you can hear him rattling on the machine because they were all handcuffed onto the machine.
Yeah.
And then Alexei sort of turns around and goes, "No, what have you done?" And just sort of collapses onto the ground and starts going, "No!" Okay. The machine has been shut off, and the dastardly effects of the machine have been stopped. The people who were attached to the machine, who were the previous exposed individuals, seem to show no side effects of the machine's effect on them.
Can we find
Alexei
the keys to unlock them?
Yeah, so they're down there in the room, so it's easy enough to find them on the dais because Alexei had sort of gone around and locked them all on. Boris actually makes a break for it once the machine and Alexei seems to lose authority, and he basically runs off into the darkness, yelling something about they'll never forgive me for failing to protect him. As he sort of runs away.
Can we handcuff Alexei to a heating pipe or something, so he can't get away?
In the grand tradition of every convicted criminal, you are absolutely allowed to handcuff him to a water heater based unit on the side of the walls, of which this school has many, because in the 1990s they were de rigueur for heating schools. So without a doubt.
Cool.
Miss Smith is sort of, you know, recovering from the after effects of the machine. Alexei just keeps on talking in Russian, like he's had effectively, you know, he's gone into shock for all intents and purposes. Mr. Smith is there, you guys are there, the kids are there. About a half an hour after the machine is shut down and you're still sort of peeling away the layers of what's gone on. And sorry, I'm just bringing it to conclusion because I know Nicholas wanted a bit of a break. You actually see 3 more really big guys looking almost like carbon copies of Boris, like literally carbon copies, and a tall, thin, dark hair with graying streaks in it guy sort of rock up, and they come down those stairs while you guys are all still sort of recovering, and the tall, thin guy sort of goes, Alexei, This was not sanctioned. You're not. Now I'm going to have to deal with this. Who are you? And he points at the three of you.
We're the good guys.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Good guys. I would think you would recognize me straight away. Benefactor of the town, you know, that sort of thing.
Is it Jeremy Northstar?
That is my name.
And
Thank you for stopping
this is your fault.
It's not my fault. Northstar R&D in no way sanctions the off-site research activities of this scientist, and I want to make it very clear that we will be working with the legal authorities to ensure that Alexei faces the full brunt of the law once he's appropriately addressed some internal concerns that we might have. I'm sure you understand. I understand the police will be here in a moment to help us take Alexei off your hands.
Are you gonna sweep this under the carpet so nobody knows about it? You do a big cover up.
No, of course not. I mean, the full force of the law will be brought to investigate this crime at the appropriate time. Anyway,
do I believe him?
Not even vaguely. He's not even trying.
So I say, look, my dad needs a job. Lou's mum needs a job. We're not going anywhere. We want justice to be served. But
right.
if you're going to hush this all up, then maybe my dad gets a job and Lou's mum gets a job and a house, and we all live happily ever after.
Yeah, well, Lou brings a shame. It's more than a job. Yeah, it alludes because this is a shame kind of comment.
I think maybe we know that you're not really living somewhere very well, even if we don't know where you're living.
Yeah.
So make a charm roll.
Okay, that's 5 dice.
With plus 2.
Could I know it's probably not appropriate, but could we use my shame on top of his dice roll? I know it's out of a character, but we're trying, because it's a group collective.
If you would like this,
Does Lou start to break down when I mention the fact
that
it would look.
Yeah.
I need more.
And then blubs that I'm living in the back of a pickup truck.
Yeah.
We're not going to survive the cold, man.
Yeah.
I'll give you an extra 2 dice, so 4 dice. So that's
9 in total.
Yeah. Stomach gargling because I haven't eaten because I've thrown away all the fruit.
Yeah. Okay. I get 4 successes.
That is exactly as it should be. I see. Well, we do have an opening in our security team. Seems one of my security staff has recently vacated their employment. And we can always use additional people in the clerical pool. So
sounds like a
deal.
He
flicks you his card across the table. Make the call tomorrow, and this never gets talked about again.
Suits me.
We're all understanding each other.
Yeah.
Sure thing.
Okay. All right, boys. Let's get this out of the way. And one of the Boris lookalikes, basically comes over, and I mean, all handcuffs have basically got the same key, so he just undoes the handcuff with his own key, grabs Alexei pretty bodily by 2 arms, lifts him up, and carries him out of the room. We'll clean this up tomorrow morning when the sun is up. I hope you have a good night's sleep. I certainly intend to attempt it. And
Do
that, he walks out the door. And do we?
I'll say, do we trust him? And we've got his card. I think. Do you want to come and crash? Do you want to come and crash at my place tonight, Lou?
No, I might check up on my mum. I mean, if
Okay.
there's a place, you know, I'll pick up with you tomorrow. Let's find out.
Cool.
Goes me up at Map's place.
We have rehearsal tomorrow as usual, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And then we'll make those phone calls.
All righty. Well, gentlemen, thank
Cool.
you so much.
That was excellent.
That's
Great.
the end of the session. So did you want me to give you the 2-minute overview of what was going on?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Yes.
Okay, so and it did require additional research, so it's a little bit like it's there, but you have to actually go and read up newspapers and other things. So Alexei was originally involved in the magnetrine research that gave Russia the original floating ships. He was part of a team of researchers. In a classic scene a la Watchmen, a number of his companions were trapped inside one of the field generators when it was turned on and went out of control. Their psyches, as it were captured in a moment in time within the magnetrine field. So they were killed, and a portion of their memories were held in the magnetrine field. So that's what you were hearing, was the 15 seconds of them screaming and slamming on the doors of the field generator when they were trying to get out. And that's why they were yelling Alexei's name, because he was on the other side of the door looking in. And the thing that drives the module is Alexei thinks that he can bring them back. So he's trying desperately to find bodies to put them into.
Right.
So he's using the machine to sort of rip people's electromagnetic memories out of their bodies. What the nasty bit of it is, of course, they're actually dead. So it's only a 15-second loop of their memories. It's not actually their whole life.
Yeah.
So it can never work, right? As Dave is aware, I like my modules to have the bittersweet ending. And in this case, the bittersweet ending is, even if he's successful, he can't be successful because he can never bring them back, because the mind and the soul, or the mind and the spirit, they're not different things, right? They're the same physical object. So once you lift something away from the things that generates the electromagnetic changes in our brains, then you lose whatever it is that we call life.
Yeah.
So that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to bring them back. And what's happening is he's escalating the machine over time, which gives you that feeling of floating above your bodies, and why the people are having the freak out attacks. So yeah, it's cute. It's pretty short, 3.5 hours. It's not bad.
Good game. Yeah, really
it's
good.
made for more players. You're meant to be able. You did well, because you didn't have the bass player who actually is there, can fight, who can actually duke it out with Boris.
I like the way we dealt with Boris. I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
Oh, it was good. It was really good.
Waste of fruit.
Especially when that was your supper as well.
I liked the banana use. I thought that was particularly on point. So look, I hope you had a good time. It was a bit of fun.
Yes.
I had a great time.
Great fun.
I'm gonna turn off the YouTube now. So thanks to anybody who's been watching.
Yep.
Yeah, a brilliant game. Thanks, Thomas, for running it. And see you all soon.